Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lost Initiative Star Wars General's Directive Episode 5. That's right, Episode 5. I'm actually, it's kind of funny, literally before the stream started, one of the things that we were talking about, that we were discussing was, how many have we played? Because it's been like a big gap of time between each session, so it's kind of hard to keep track of how many we've done. And so it is session 5. And so because of those gaps of time, we thought this would be a good opportunity for us to kind of like catch up everybody, to remind how things kind of left off last session and even what led up to that. So let's do a quick little recap of what's been going on in the past 4 sessions and remind us how last session left off. So the campaign opened with we had Aris and her little sidekick there, Kuka, breaking into an establishment of a very wealthy family. On some off-world, some alien peoples.
Scott, music needs to go down a tad.
Oh, thank you. So sorry.
Hate to interrupt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Lost Initiative General Directive. No, I'm just kidding. So, yeah. I always turn my mic down a little bit because I'm super loud and I'm the feed. So I'm sure that like blared over me. But anyways, just again, we're recapping the past 4 episodes to make sure everybody's caught up with where we are. So the first session was we had Arisvola and her little sidekick and companion there, Kuka, had gone to a wealthy planet, and particularly to the home of very wealthy nobles that were known as collectors, that were very well favored in the ages that have long passed and have a lot of wealth to them for thousands and thousands of years. So this being one of their primary places of residence, she had crash landed into the place with a crew of just nobodies. You know, her ship had already been destroyed for a prior mission, so she's like, fuck it, I'm going all in. And so she crash landed the ship on the planet, took her entire crew, it took the place completely by surprise. She lost tons of crew along the way, but honestly did not care. Along the way, as well as burning the entire establishment to the ground and killing everybody that was there, not a single survivor, she also was able to find what she was looking for. A capsule that kept somebody frozen for thousands and thousands of years. And so, by awakening Weed's character, Tashade, she was able to kind of like bring him back to this world, somebody that she thinks as though she could learn from. Maybe he can learn from her, and the two of them will be able to prosper together. She doesn't like when people have a leg up on her, and so she always needs somebody to watch her back. So she grabbed somebody that she thought would be able to benefit her cause. Eventually made their way on a brand new gorgeous vessel off of that planet, made contact with some snide, obnoxious person named Rebecca, and took a job. That job brought them to a different planet named, Lorinar, in tracking down some weapons that had, a shipment of weapons that had disappeared. They tracked them for a while, eventually found out the reason why the weapons disappeared was because an in particular Good Samaritan detective found out where, found out that there was illegal supplies being shipped on this transport and sent it to be processed correctly. It disappeared along the way. Much questioning, killing, and so on and so forth, you guys were able to eventually bust into a ship in space, jump across to the other ship, and just literally send crates of weapons back across space, having Tashade, I believe, the one catching them on the other side, and eventually kind of filtering them into your cargo area to transport back. Yeah, a friend was made along the way, some flirting and whatnot, but those are little side tasks. Eventually, you were brought those supplies to Rebecca and got to see her to her face. And God, she's even more obnoxious in person than she is on a holo call. But that's okay. You completed your task and you were given another one. That Good Samaritan detective, you're now supposed to hunt him down. His name, Maggie, is...
Oh, Suso.
Suso, thank you. Suso, the Good Samaritan detective.
I was like, who?
Yeah. You're tracking him down to either remove him from the equation, though that is what we're trying not to do, or to capture him to find out what information we can garner from him because of the fact that he works for one of the other generals, not to Mariana the way that you do. So, so you try to get information out of him. In the trek of trying to find this guy, Lotris actually is able to get himself, Lotris being Mathis's character you pick up along the way, Lotris actually gets invited to a ball, a gala, where he has conversations that are thinly veiled threats and some of them relatively pleasant conversations to gain a little bit of information, and has booked himself a meeting with a few people that happen to be enemies of Rebecca, figuring this woman is an issue. She is causing problems consistently. We need to remove her from the equation to make life easier for Aris and so therefore everybody else. So unfortunately, he had to wait to do that meeting because, you know, everybody had to gather together in a time that was convenient for them. But in the meanwhile, back on the ship, you had Kuka was having a bit of a shindig with some of the other crew members and drinking maybe a bit too much. Kuka decided to go out with Naga. And the two of them had a little bit of shooting lessons. Things went awry. Police showed up. She ran away from drones. He stood and fought. And now Naga has disappeared. So the issue is...
There was a dope-ass chase sequence, too.
Dope-ass chase
Pretty
sequence
cool.
where you were running from the Jones over buildings and between them and stuff like that. And, you know, these are skyscrapers because it's the future. So you, Kuka, are literally just making your way back to the ship. Naga has just disappeared. Aris, you were aboard the ship waiting to hear word from either Lotris to finally complete that because he hasn't given you full word yet. Or, you know, hey, where's Kuka? Where'd she go off to? And the Shade, who has been...
Well, we were drinking, and then I went to bed before everybody else.
That's
or
right.
went to my room.
And the Shade, I don't believe he took part in the drinking endeavors. He was just kind of like, I'm good. I'm gonna hang back and allow you guys to like have your fun. I'm gonna do my own thing over here. He also sought out a little bit of medical aid to like better heal himself from all those thousands of years of rest. Because now you have your medical droid M3M1 T1M. All right, now we're all caught up in everything that's happened. We're picking this up with you're in bed, Lotris. The Shade, you had just finished another treatment.
It's not here.
Damn it, Eris. You're in bed. You're doing whether or not you're asleep or just sitting there and playing like some sort of game on your tablet, trying to pass yourself out or whatever it is that you do. Wade, your character. I'm terrible at names.
Urath.
I didn't find it yet. Urath. I heard you, but I didn't see it yet. So Urath. I just wanted to see it with my eyes.
Oh.
So Urath has just gotten out of the medical bay. You literally just kind of got off the bed. They were doing like another transfusion. It's almost like a dialysis machine where they're like taking your blood, pulling it out, filtering it through, trying to re-stimulate some of like the the count of the various like cells or whatever that's inside your blood to kick you up and keep you moving. You've been kind of sluggish until this point, primarily because you haven't spent experience points until this point. But now, you're kind of like feeling better and more like yourself. And Kuka, you're just re-entering the vessel. So you've had a very sobering moment.
Kuka didn't drink anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, like the gravity of the situation is a little heavy for you because you just witnessed that. And so you come back onto the vessel. Everybody's pretty much like filtering out and going to sleep. One of the important things to note for those that did participate in the drinking was that Bezwi, which is the pilot, he did not participate in anything. While Aris was there, he maybe shared a drink with Aris and spoke to her. And while Naga was there, maybe shared a drink with Naga and spoke with him. But otherwise, didn't waste his time speaking to anybody else. All right. So you're walking back in. Aris is asleep, and literally Urath is getting out of the medical bay, probably rubbing his arm where he just had the, effectively dialysis machine working.
So Kuka would not want to be seen by anybody unless it was Eris. So she's just kind of slinking around the ship looking for Eris. And once she realizes that Eris is in bed, she doesn't want to disturb her. So she just goes to...
Kuka's seen me shoot somebody. No, just kidding.
She just goes to her escape pod quarters, finds the kitty, and just sits there, and she's worried.
Okay, so you just go there and you're like, I'm just gonna wait until I see Eris tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
What planet are we on right now?
You are on the planet of
Corellia.
Thank you, Corellia.
No problem. I got you.
There you go. You're on the planet of Corellia because that you were meeting with senators and stuff like that. That's what Lotris.
Yeah, and we were getting our ship fixed. That's why we had to be there for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You were kind of stuck there for a little while.
And so the first day we were basically going to get all our supplies. I did get milk for the cats. And I brought back some liquor for people to drink because I promised them a celebration.
No, let's not laugh. It's super important that you had the milk for the cat. Okay, very important. It's crucial. So she goes to bed. I imagine then you just go to sleep as well, Wade.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably go look out the one of the windows and just look out at the planet and I don't know if I can see the city. Corellia is
Okay.
mostly a city.
It is. So not to be confused
Yeah.
with Coruscant, which is a citywide,
Right.
planet-wide city that goes layers down. Corellia is a very, very, very industrial city. So Corellia, the Corellians are the ones that are the best, crafters of spaceships and whatnot. The planet has a bit of a smell to it because of the fact that this is where most ships are designed and fabricated and whatnot for the inner system.
Oh, was it Coruscant? It was because I
Okay, so
thought
it was
it was
Coruscant.
Corellia.
Okay,
right.
that makes more sense. I thought
I
it
wrote-
was Coruscant because the senators, but okay.
I wrote Corellia down, but I meant Coruscant.
I was like, she's
You know
really
what?
good with
They
notes,
both
so I was
start
just
with
following.
T's,
Yeah.
so don't,
Oh, no, it's cool. Coruscant makes sense because the what you call it. It's all good. I just ran with it because I was like, she has really good notes. I don't think she'd be wrong. So
yeah,
it's all
normally
good.
because it starts. I think I just was like, derping. Too many planets. Star Wars.
I'm
There's a
definitely just
lot.
looking out the window at Coruscant then, because I imagine it's. I don't even know if Urath would have ever been here before, but I imagine it's different that he would remember from anything he's seen. So
It's funny enough, Coruscant hasn't really changed much. Maybe like the style that people wear for clothing or the music that they listen to, because it's not like it was always jizz.
I don't know if he would have ever been here before though. This might be his first time on Coruscant.
Did you served the Rising Empire a long time ago? Not the current Empire, the Sith Empire, before, correct?
It was but I don't know that I would have been brought here. It's hard to say. I don't know. I'd have to.
No, that's fair. Maybe your character never did. But Coruscant has remained, from a casual observer, unchanged for thousands of years. For a casual observer, obviously, someone that knows the place would see all the nuance changes.
Filthy casuals.
Regardless, if he has seen it, it's been thousands of years, so he's gonna just take a look.
Okay, yeah. And so you look out and you see the city, and there is a certain degree of beauty that you can find. Just like if you look into New York City, there's a certain degree in beauty of what New York City is.
Architecture, are you kidding me?
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. It's like one of those, you take a step back and you truly appreciate what it is. It's when you get too close that you realize the rat's the size of, dogs and whatnot. So, you taking all those sights. Again, we can just kind of flash forward to the morning where everybody wakes up. The shade is feeling significantly better. The Wrath is feeling significantly better. Actually, the strongest you felt so far since you've been resting. Eris, you feel fine. You're just waiting it out until you do your mission, hoping to hear a message from Latros. Latros did come back last night, but he's locked up in his own room. And Kuka, you wake up. I imagine you didn't sleep a lot last night.
No, she's feeling real guilty. She would slink around and try not to be seen by anybody until she could find Eris.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you
she
easily
fair.
find Eris. She's
Yeah.
not somebody that's. When Eris is somewhere in the ship, you know where she is. She's the kind of persona that makes sure you know of it.
Okay.
Usually it's other people avoiding
It's
that
because
spot.
everyone gets really quiet.
Yeah.
It's like I walk into a room and they're like, no more laughter.
Huh. The engineer's out here. I guess I know where she is.
Okay, so she would walk up to Eris and she would say, Kuka in bed.
What did you do?
She's just like making a real show of not looking at you. Kuka, I'm sorry.
What did you do?
Kuka am lose Naga.
She gives you like a questioning look. And she's like, you what?
Kuka and Naga am shoot. Men came. Naga run one way. Kuka am a building. Kuka am crash into house. Kuka can't find Naga. Kuka look for Naga. No Naga. Kuka am lose Naga. Kuka am sorry.
Did he get shot?
Kuka don't know.
She just kind of sighs. And then, hold on, I'm looking for, I have to go to, I hate the sheet because it's like the vehicle sheet's a different part. I wish the vehicle sheet was like its own sheet and then we could all share the vehicle sheet. Because it's like a little bit weird to have to like go to your own tab and then
It is frustrating.
not everyone's is synced, so it makes it awkward.
You know what I could do if this would make it easier, but that means other people would be clicking on it at the same time, is if I made a separate character sheet and we just did the vehicle on it. But that means other people could click on it, and then it's like a click fight sometimes.
Well, I think if people know that one person's
Yeah.
running it,
But-
then they won't click on it. But
I
I,
can
think that
actually-
would be better.
Yeah, remind me after the stream ends, and I'll totally bring my laptop
It's
to bed and
silly
work on
that
that.
like they have the Destiny pool stuff being syncable, but then the ship stuff is not syncable.
Oh, we forgot to do that.
I just remembered that. Oh my god.
While we're doing
Okay.
Destiny,
Sorry.
Oh no.
while we're doing Destiny stuff, who's Naga again?
Naga was the what is it? The engineer.
Eris is evil AF for those of you in chat. She's a not good person.
So he's the Trandoshan engineer.
That's who I was looking
Okay.
for. I was looking for the character sheet to see what he was. So he's the engineer.
Yep. Let me remind you,
I do
Wade.
need it.
Yes, Eris, I would be more than happy to take care of this for you.
Was he the one trying to open a door for like?
Yes.
Okay.
He's very useful, and Kuka lost him.
Okay, yeah, we should find him.
Okay, so we're gonna clear the pool, and there you go.
Sinking the pool.
Okay, wow, that actually worked out very, very well in your favor.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna warn everybody again. RNG has been very good to me all day, so hopefully it flips and it's good to you, because
Well, hopefully that it's been really good to you, so it is bad for you now.
yeah, that's
And
what I'm
good for
saying.
us.
Hopefully for you guys it's good to you, because it's been good to me all day. So
Cool. Eris like takes a big sigh and then
The dice aren't showing.
yeah, I'm clicking right now.
and then looks up at the like monitors that she's looking at in the bridge.
Kukam, go find him.
Not worth our time. I'll find another engineer.
Kukam, go find him.
If you think you can find us a good engineer. Look. If he got caught now, he'll get caught in the future. It's just fate telling us to not worry about it.
Naga am shoot man. Naga am shoot bad. If Kuka am shoot man, man am dead.
Maybe you should practice.
Okay.
Kuka am go now.
Darik's like, oh no. Naga's gonna be in prison for a long time.
I liked Naga. He was like
I did like Naga
I
too.
liked Naga too. I feel
I
like we
shouldn't
should
have let him get caught by the police then.
I like Naga and Bez
That's not
Lee
my fault.
more than I like Mathis, and I mean the person.
Oh, Jesus.
You know.
That's horrible, Darik. Also,
Just
we
give it
have-
back, Scott.
I can't.
Here's the thing. Eris is evil. She gives no fucks about anybody else.
That's fair. It's accurate, so can't argue with that.
Yeah.
All right. So
Normally, she'd probably kill the messenger as well, but she kind of likes Kuka.
so you decide you're more or less like, well, if he's gone, he's gone.
Yeah, so I'm gonna basically look for another engineer.
Sure. So you can kind of set your feelers out to try to find another engineer, and you can see what you find along the way. This is an opportunity for somebody else out there to design an engineer for the party, but in the meanwhile, why don't you roll for me a...
I'm just keeping the Patreon going.
Yeah, exactly. Good job. Good job. Poor abusive Naga in chat.
I just murder all the NPCs until I get the one that I want. It's like, RNG. Just keep rolling.
The problem was that the person that had designed the character named the character after themselves. Obviously, you're gonna go. Don't be a
Oh,
narcissist. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't be a narcissist.
It's karma.
Don't be a Nagasist. So, you why don't you do me a favor,
Maybe we'll
Maggie?
find him later.
Yeah, maybe that'd be nice if you actually were able to get a hold of him later and whatnot. So Maggie, why don't you do me a favor to try to find another engineer, at least for now, like a temporary one. You can actually roll for me a...
I think what I'm going to do is, if you don't mind me telling you how I would go
Please,
about it.
you go right ahead.
We have some people working on our ship already.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go. I'd like to just talk to them and kind of basically figure out like if there's someone who has a reputation in the community for doing really good work, especially on old antique ships like mine, because I have like a really nice ship.
Okay. Then that's a little different than what I was going to do. I like that. Why don't you roll for me a charm check to try to like more or less make friendly with them to get the information. But it's not going to be very difficult. You can do it with.
I need to roll the. Oh shit! Shit! No! What did I roll?
Oh, I was going to say roll it against 2 purple.
God damn. 2 purple.
Mm-hmm.
Fudge! That's my good roll. No.
Just roll 2 purple dice and use that.
And do the math.
Can I do that?
Yeah, I'm fine
How
with
do
that.
I do that?
Just only add 2 purple at the top and then press the D20 right in the middle.
In the center.
Wow.
Damn. But that triumph, it's still a triumph.
You
100%.
triumphantly fail with advantage.
Oh.
That's so weird. Why are there? What? How does that work?
Yeah, that's the. I wish you could physically hold the dice so you can see the way that they're set up. But there's one face that's a double fail. And there's
Even
one face
with the. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cannot believe.
So you triumphantly fail with advantage.
How is I have 2 yellow and 2 green? Like that's so crazy. Well, our luck is like terrial.
RNG's on my side. All right, so
I think with charm in particular.
Patreon conveyor belt of death.
all I have to say is Doxy, explode those dice. So so anyways,
if I get my own dice and I have a camera that I just switch to, can I do it?
we gotta use Roll20 for consistency. Okay. If everybody did that, that'd be cool. That'd be wicked awesome setup. You know what I mean? But for consistency. All right. So, anyways, Maggie, how would you like to use that triumph? Because you were failed to get exactly what you were looking for, somebody with a reputation that they know of. But how would you like to use your triumph?
So maybe I don't find someone who has a reputation with old ships or anything like that, but I do find somebody who people talk about. He might be more expensive, but if you have the right,
sure. So more or less, like
if you have the right, what do you call it?
Yeah.
Thing to offer him, he may be willing.
So this is what they'll say, because more or less they're not going to give you like the name of some mechanic that's around here and relatively reputable and looking to fly out. But what they do say is they're like, you're asking people like, I don't know. And at one point in time, somebody's be like, well, there's this crazy old Bastion. Like no, nobody wants to talk to that guy. Well, he is known for old ships. Yeah, he's known for old ships because he lives in an old broken ship. But he's fixed other people's ships before. That's a rumor. We don't actually know that. He lives in an old broken ship. That's not the person you want to talk to. And then and then they kind of like, sorry about that. No, that didn't mean for him to bring that up. Sorry, we don't know anybody.
No, it's fine. Tell me more about him. Where can I find this old Bastion?
When you say that, he actually like lets out like a sigh, and then he looks over at the other one like, you idiots. And then he looks back at you. He's like, he's a crazy old coot. He literally lives in an old broken ship. He used to be a mechanic apparently, but he just lives in an old ship. People talk to him because he's a scavenger. He can usually find parts that other people can't. So when you're trying to do a job on a rush and you can't get your hands on the right part, you get a part that works, and he can get it for you. But he's kind of a loon.
Where's this old ship?
He's like, the fact that you're pressing the issue, he's like a little bit more dejected. He's like, there's a junkyard. It's about so many clicks from here. It's in the junkyard. You can't miss it. It's half of a broken Star Destroyer that was laid to rest there after some old war.
She kind of like looks off and then looks back and just kind of just looking at this person to see if it's kind of like an insight check. I don't know.
Yeah, insight is
like maybe if they know something more than she knows, type of thing.
That's discipline, I believe, to know if somebody's lying.
All right. What am I rolling against? 2 purple.
For this guy, I would actually say he's pretty transparent. I'd say 1 purple.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Okay. So you easily are able to tell that the reason why he seems like he's holding back at all, and he maybe is holding back a bit more information, is only because he feels like he's wasting your time. Like you genuinely feel as though like he thinks he's wasting my time, and so therefore he is wasting my time by not just being upfront with me. You know what I mean? But you easily are able to get that off of him.
Okay. Well, that works for me.
Okay, good luck, he says, and it's like one of those like eye rolls, looks away, like okay, another crazy person, and goes off to continue doing his work. Now, you guys might not remember, Naga was constantly complaining about these people, not necessarily that they weren't capable of doing their jobs, that they didn't just do exactly what he wanted. Like he had specific things that he wanted to be done because he knew how, because he knows Eris, right? And so Naga was like a micromanager, but also was getting his hands dirty, and they annoyed the crap out of him. Without Naga there, the quality of work you start seeing immediately just kind of like shifts. It's one of those things where there's totally going to be a guy over there that's, you know, literally in the ship having a smoke for a minute. There's going to be another person that's sitting down and eating his lunch, and it's like you swore the last 2 times you walked by he was having his lunch. You know, it's one of those like things are moving so much slower than they were beforehand. There's a lot of like, even while they're actively working on things, there's a lot of like turn the wrench twice. I'm like, no, but you see what I told her was this. You see, I told her that I said you when I told her, and like they turn the wrench like 2 more times, and like it's so much more lackadaisical than it was beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
You can approach that at all? You just fuck it, leave it be.
Not this time.
Okay, so
yeah.
You have coordinates
day
for
2, right? Or when did we land? This is day 2, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So you have coordinates for where the junkyard is if you want to go meet with the guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you guys,
I just want to say that Kuka is following behind stealthily. Like she doesn't want you to know that she's following, but she's following.
Can I know she's following?
Should I do a stealth roll and you do a perception?
I mean, yeah, that's exactly how it would play out. Yep.
Okay. Against 0 purples?
Correct. It's just whoever gets the higher of the
It's a
2.
flat roll.
Okay.
Yeah. Where's my perception?
That's a lot of
Oh my
advantage.
God.
That is a lot of advantage, but you still beat me.
How is that possible?
What the
Give me one of
That's
those
so
nine.
Why do you
funny.
get 2 blues?
Because I get
Oh,
2
you-
blues to my stealth. For...
That's pretty sick, girl.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Um,
I'm not gonna lie.
Eris doesn't let Kuka, or well, I mean, she's not like, she doesn't look over at Kuka or anything like that, but she can feel Kuka's presence. Like she never even looks in Kuka's direction, but it's like kind of one of those things because I'm a force user. I can feel Kuka.
After Eris walks away from that guy, Kuka walks up to him and says, "And Bastion shoot good."
The guy's like, he's surprised that you're talking because he's been around for he hasn't heard a single word. He's like, I don't know.
And then she slinks off behind Eris.
She's like, probably like, we need to find somebody who can also
Yeah, she doesn't want to let you down again, dude.
So
Don't take my engineer out shooting. He's not meant to be shooting. He's meant to be fixing fucking shit.
I'm sorry.
No.
So Kuka, do you actually follow after her? And if so,
Yeah.
Eris, do you make mention of that, or do you just let it be?
No, like I said, she continues walking. Like she stops for a moment, but doesn't look in the direction, and then she continues stepping forward. It kind of just looks like she stopped for a moment to look around, or like she kind of like spaced, and then she started walking a little bit more. But she never looks in Kuka's direction. It's more of like she can feel Kuka's presence, and she's like, okay. At first she was like, who's following me? And then she knew who it was, and she just kept walking.
Kuka would not have picked up on you knowing. She thinks she's being the sneakiest.
So
It's not that close behind. I mean, it's not that far behind. You're like, you are pretty sneaky.
Listen, this is one of those rolls like we were doing last week, where you would get 5 greens, a yellow, and 2 blues, and fail to 2 purples. And you're like, I
don't
hate life.
understand. I don't understand.
Like it's crazy. But anyway, so you make your way over to where it is. You can't just like you can't just walk all the way there because of how far it is, but you are able to get on a transport.
Can I get on one of those like flying transporter thingies?
Absolutely. You get on a transport. I imagine Kuka follows on the one behind it as well. And so for a while, you might lose her, Aris, because you're not seeing. Oh, wait. Are we bringing Urath with us?
I think Urath has another objective in mind. I think he's going to go try to find Naga to possibly silence him so he doesn't give any information out.
Okay, cool. That was a turn that I didn't expect. Let's follow Aris first, and then we'll approach that one.
I thought that's what Kuka was gonna do too. I thought Kuka was gonna be like, I'm gonna go try to find him.
As soon as Urath sees like the engineers wrestling around, he's figured out what's happened, and he doesn't like the thought of there being a loose end who knows their ship in and out.
You told Kuka not to, so she is definitely not going to.
Wasn't told anything. He wasn't even told about this. He wouldn't about it otherwise, so he's taking it upon himself.
Yeah. He's also not stupid. It's actually important to note that Urath, while being large, like a big meaty person, he's not unintelligent. All right, so it's Kuka that's the dumb one. So
it's really stupid.
So Aris, you make your way all the way over to the place that I was referring to the junkyard, and it's not small. This is a junkyard for spacecraft and things like that. Like this is Coruscant. So there are just some chunks of metal that you just can't get rid of easily, that you just can't like break down too easily or whatever. So there's a huge area. We're talking the size of like the state of Texas that's outside of one of the primary cities. So it takes a bit to get there. Travel in the future is super fast, so it doesn't matter how far it is, it's still relatively quick for you. Less than an hour or so to get where you're going. And it's a humongous junkyard. And it was more than just at the junkyard where they gave you directions. They also gave you directions specifically to like about where his home is, right? So you are you transport over to that area, you land, you get onto like another like slower ground transport, like a hover vehicle transport that brings you closer, and then there you start asking your questions and try to find out where it is this man is. Now immediately when you like land in this place, you can already get a vibe from it, but more than that, interacting with people and whatnot. You've lived in slums, you've been in slums, so on and so forth. This is way worse than any of those scenarios. Not something that intimidates you, not something that you don't think you can handle if you step the right way and steal with the right people. That's something that like really concerns you. But the fact of the matter is, this is a society of people that live specifically in a scavenging like society in a junkyard that live off of like the wealthy people. So even if you want to go as far as to think like Thor Ragnarok, the people that live outside of the city or whatever, they're junkers. They're very gang-like. And they're merciless. So they're not just going to grab you because you're there, but step the wrong way. So anyways, you land and you start dealing with a few people and trying to step the right way to find out where you need to go. Could you do me a favor? It's a relatively easy check. It's going to be your choice. You can use coercion, you can use charm, or you can use streetwise. Your call. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll against 3 purple.
Jeez, okay. I will do charm. Because that's her way. Which doesn't seem like it would be her way, but it is.
Okay. So, ooh. I mean, you are dealing with these people that are, again, rough around the edges. Like, hey, what do you want here? That's sort of like, and you have your conversation with them, and they eventually will give you the guidance to where you're going. You didn't make friends, but you didn't make enemies. So you bring yourself to the area where eventually kind of like had been searching for a few hours at this point after already getting to the region where you believe the ship to be. And around where you're starting to get really agitated, it's not that your character's not patient, but you've spent time literally going around huge mounds of broken ships and buildings made out of them and so on and so forth. When finally you come around the bend and you actually see the back half of a broken Star Destroyer that's sitting there. It's the half that would have like the engine attached to it. And you look up and you're like, holy shit. Because when you see this thing, most of the other places in this area, if there was a large ship that was broken, that ship was clearly retrofitted in some way to be a house. They would house many people, and you could see like where a bunch of like ladders or ropes or whatever, like little elevators were built off of it for people to get down and out of it, where balconies were like a part of like a roof would be removed and a balcony would be set up, and you could see people all over it and just living their junkyard lifestyle. Despite the fact that it's the back of a Star Destroyer, which is absolutely ginormous, you don't see any of that on it.
Triangle-looking thing.
Exactly. It's the back like third-ish of it. So it's a really wide portion. You don't see any of that whatsoever. None of those makeshift constructions built on it for somebody to live in.
Does it look like it's very similar to what it would originally be like obviously.
Yeah, exactly. It's an older model of it because it's not technically a Star Destroyer. It's just an older model. People just identify it that way because it was a more recent war. But it is that same triangular shape, very large in size, so on and so forth. But yeah, it makes sense to you. There's rust on it and whatnot, but it's there and intact. And so
Seeing that, Eris actually has like a little smirk on her face, and then I'm gonna look for wherever the entrance would be.
So, funny thing about the entrance is, like I said, because it's broken, there's like a huge open area. But Eris isn't stupid. Just because it's an open chunk of ship doesn't mean that that's the actual way in. And so she starts picking her way up the garbage pile. Do you like literally want to scale the sides of this, or do you want to try to find yourself like a path to walk up?
I'll try to find a path.
If you try to find a path,
Patient.
yep, you can roll for me. That would be actually, you can roll me a streetwise or a survival check. I don't think there's anything else unless you can coerce me otherwise.
I'll do streetwise.
Okay, and you can do that actually. It's only 2 purple.
Okay, I will remove one.
So
Shit.
you spend a considerable amount of time trying to pick your way out a path and whatnot, and you would do, I mean, even though it's a failure, you do eventually find one, but it's not like you're able to find any path that leads you straight up to it. Instead, you have to like go up the side path you think leads you there, but it doesn't, which brings you to another side path and so on and so forth. So you do eventually get up to the front open area of the ship, but it ends up taking you another 2 hours or so. It's an aggravatingly long period of time once again. But you're there, you're at the mouth of the vessel, and now you know that you need to get into the area where most likely this man lives. So the important thing to know is that as you approach the front of the vessel, there are several signs put up. Like literally you're standing there and you have look all the way to the left and all the way to the right. And there's the ship. It's not like it's sitting perfectly on a ledge. It's actually sitting kind of crooked and leans backwards and whatnot. So when you actually get onto the lip of the metal that is the frame of the ship, there's a tilt going downwards. Not so extreme at first, but you imagine will gradually get more so as you go in. Leans again backwards and whatnot. So if you were to look up, you'd be looking into the sky. Look outwards, look into the sky. So as you literally get in there, and you're looking all the way to both sides because how wide the thing is. You're seeing quite a few signs. Get out, unwelcome, go away, I'll eat you. You know, all sorts of things like that to try to like get people to go away. And it's not written in one language. It's like written in a whole bunch of different languages, written all about throughout the way. You can read a handful of them, but you get the gist. You know, so you start trying to make your way actually into the facility itself, into the actual building. To pick your way in to where you think might be the right way. Once again, you can roll a survival check, almost like you're trying to find like foot traffic and movements. But instead, you can actually try to roll a what's this going to be? I think it's a lore check to know about ships. Oh, no. You can also do piloting space to know about ships and their layouts and what would probably be like the best routes to take.
So not lore.
You can do lore, piloting space, or survival. And
let's do lore.
And they're all going to be 2.
2. Okay. Oops. There I'm okay. We will roll that. Let's see. I'm not expecting to do well, but we'll see. Nope. I will just take the strain.
Okay. You can spend another considerable amount of time searching around, finding dead ends. Now, some of these dead ends are because, unfortunately, you're just not familiar with this vessel. And there's no functioning computer that you can just like load up a schematic for. And even when you pop onto the HoloNet and try to find a schematic for it, unfortunately, you're not familiar with what model of ship this is. So you can't even get something there to assist you on it. So that's what ends up being stressful is that every avenue you try to take to outsmart the situation. I'm just trying to walk through a fucking ship. That doesn't work in your favor. And then even areas where like, no, this definitely should be a way that lets me through. It's like a door that's sealed off and either something is really heavy on the other side or the thing was welded shut. So some doors that you can't get through. And so you're like, okay, this person clearly is trying to make it very difficult for me to get in here and it's extremely aggravating. And so you spend another couple of hours.
Eris, like, obviously is stressed out about it internally, but externally she's acts very calm and collected.
Okay. It's so many hours have passed between transiting here, finding the place, getting up to it, and now searching throughout it, that the sun is now starting to go down. So it's actually becoming nighttime. You've been gone for a considerable amount of time. Do you want to continue searching to find your way in? Which it's not like you're exhausted or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll keep looking.
Okay, so I'll allow you to make that check one more time. This time we're going to knock lore off as an option, and you have to do one of the other two. And if you choose to go with piloting space, it's going to be 3 purple now. If you choose to go with survival, it's going to stay 2.
Sure. Mind if I use a light side point, peeps?
I don't. Ooh. Give them to me.
And that gives me an upgrade, right?
It does. Mm-hmm.
Cool. And we're gonna do this. Seriously?
Okay, so the way it goes,
Actually, give me an upgrade?
what? Oh, it did. Does your survival usually have a yellow?
No.
Okay, so it does. I did upgrade. So you're searching through again, and again, it's one of those situations where you're searching through for about another hour and a half, hour 45, and you're just trying to find tracks, and you're trying to find things that lead you to where you believe would be places to get in. And you can see, like, oh, no, it definitely looks like, oh, fuck, no. That wasn't a person traveling through here. There was some animal that was living up in this little vent area that I've come across since. And so we're going to, as you're like traveling around for a long period of time, eventually I imagine you get a little frustrated. Again, you're not necessarily wearing it on the outside, but you have been traveling for a bit. You're going to sit down at some point in time, just to, like, grab a snack, drink some water, just to contemplate the situation before you move on. And so as you like sit down, just to gather yourself for a minute, we're going to pull the camera away from you, just literally sitting there and maybe silently cussing to yourself or whatever it is that you... How would you react as you sit down?
She just kind of like looks around, still tries to stay calm and collected, but like inside she's just like, ugh, why do people have to make things into mazes? And she like just finds something, kind of dust off like whatever's on this like probably gross crate or something like that, sits down on it, and leans back up and just takes some food out.
Awesome. So we're going to have, once again, as you like say those words, where people have to make mazes, you start dusting it off or whatever.
And I will grab another ration and toss it Kuka's way.
Oh, that's awesome. And with that, as like that, Kuka realizes that was clearly thrown to her, and like, we're going to.
She's gonna actually, so sorry, super quick. She's gonna grab the ration and just walk up to Eris and sit down next to her.
There you go.
Like, she's like, I'm busted. Whatever.
2 of you are sitting side by side contemplating the situation, and we are going to take our first break. We'll come back in about 5 or 6 minutes, and then we'll see what Wade's been doing. Bye.
Ooh.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Hour 2.
What happened to one?
Oh, you sat there and did nothing because that's all you deserve. And so, oh wait, damn, I can't be mean to him. It's actually his turn. So all of a sudden, the camera zooms in on Urath. Urath has been was left back in his room. He woke up. He went about his like morning routine, whatever that is, exercising, poop, so on and so forth. And he started spending his time pacing around the vessel. While pacing around, this is when he came to the realization, like, Naga's not here. He overheard a bit of like chatter after the girls had left. Not that you heard exactly what the girls were saying, but you overheard the other crew who did overhear what the girls were talking about earlier. And so you heard them talking about how apparently Naga went missing last night. That's why he's not around. And so he got nabbed by the authorities. And so Aris is more or less just like, fuck him. And so
yeah, I was in the bridge, so anybody who was in the bridge, like I'm sure like the pilot and stuff heard me. I wasn't being negative about it.
You know what's funny is I imagine you got that information off of M3M1 T1M because like it's not very far from the bridge and the medical bay. So it's like the medical droid you swung by for some medications that the medical droid's making you take, and you're like, nah. And you're telling, you're like, oh, did I tell you about, And so you found out the information. You did a bit of spying around the vessel yourself, and you came to the realization that things aren't the way they were a day beforehand. Things are obviously running quite differently, and that bothered you. So how do you approach this bothering?
So, from my understanding, after talking and listening, Naga and Kuko were out, like, taking target practice. Naga accidentally shot, or someone shot toward people. Police showed up. Naga, instead of running away, decided to go try to fight the police. So Urath's going to go try to find a police station to try to inquire as to whether or not he was killed or captured or where Naga ended up.
Okay. So one of the first things that you can do is, you can kind of like inquire about what it is that they know of what happened. And unfortunately, whatever you roll doesn't really matter because Kuka didn't really share much information.
Right.
You know that she was out drinking and went shooting with him, and that they were nearby when it happened, and that's all you know. So you're gonna have to make your way out to the streets and the hood, to see if you can find out where that had taken place. So heading out there yourself, Urath, is trying to find out where it was this all took place. You can easily roll yourself like a streetwise to ask around some people's and find out what they might know about where it was. Or you can roll a survival to try to like stick around to the areas near the ship that you think would be a good place for practicing and do it that way. And I would even go so far as to say you can use an education check if you want as well. Because like where would be a good place to teach how to shoot. Though that one's going to be 3 purple, the other 2 are going to be 2 purple.
All right. I'd almost rather look around and find someone who looks like they're just about a lot and just immediately question them as to whether there was any noise.
Sure. And then if you're just looking for somebody to have some RP with, why don't you roll me a a streetwise against 1 purple to find this person. A man about town. So, unfortunately, when you go looking around trying to find someone who's like obviously what you're looking for, like a pimp or whatever it is, that might be a pretty obvious person that would be hanging about and have this kind of information, it doesn't really work out in your favor. However, what you do end up finding, taking you to advantage, what you do end up finding is some authorities.
Okay. Excuse me, I heard there was commotion around here last night.
So one of the authorities is a human, because this is Coruscant, so it is predominantly humans here. But the other one is actually a Zabrak, which is a reminder. Zabrak are the ones that Darth Maul was. They are human-esque. They have the horns and it's like a bit of a bony area down here, so on and so forth. But for the most part, they're human. And they're not all black and red. That was face paint. They're usually like a brownish, tannish, or even beigeish kind of color. So anyways, you go walking up to the 2 of them, you say that, and the Zabrak looks up at you, because Zabrak are kind of an aggressive people. He looks up at you, and he's like...
We'll have a mutual understanding, then.
He's like, you're a big one. How'd you lose it?
I didn't lose it. It's my job to retrieve it.
All right, there was commotion. What's it mean to you?
Well, I am basically, let's say I'm a mercenary for an organization, and this organization's very displeased that there was a commotion caused, and discipline within this organization is usually handled internally. So it's my job to find the cause of this commotion and bring it in for questioning.
The two of them look at each other for a second. They look at each other for a second, like almost like they're trying to get a feeling off of each other. And then the human looks to you and says, "Wait, you take him?"
Well, yes. Are you trying to get rid of him?
The other one's like, "You can't just hand over something we've apprehended." As Brock says that, he's like, "Well, it's less paperwork for us if we don't have to finish the processing and send him through the trials and everything. You can't do that. This is something that's not something that it doesn't matter. Hey, listen, you make it worth our while. Maybe we can help you out."
Well, you've already mentioned less paperwork, and I guarantee you that we're leaving the planet tomorrow. And once he's gone, it's no longer your problem.
He starts chuckling while you're saying this, and he's like, "No, no, no. Are you gonna make it worth my while?"
What would make it worth your while?
And he he was holding like a drink, like he was having a sip of whatever kind of coffee they have, and he puts it down and he's like, "I'm sorry, I don't think you heard me. Are you trying to bribe me?"
I'm just gonna laugh. No, I don't deal in money.
You can see like, roll me in a what's it to read emotions in this game again? Perception.
Discipline?
It's perception to read emotions.
Okay, it's that, not discipline.
Correct. Discipline's
Against what?
to like see if somebody's lying or not.
Okay, against how many?
Oh, my apologies. You could roll it against 2.
All right, this is perception.
Okay.
Hey.
You can actually see that when you say that, like, "Oh, I don't deal with money," this clearly looks upset. Like, what? I wanted money. You know what I mean? And so he's like, "Then what you want about?"
I don't know if you know what a mercenary does, but I'm here to retrieve a faulty piece of merchandise and make it not your problem and make it very much my problem. If you have another problem you would like solved, I can help with that. If you want to deal with money, then I'm not the guy for you, and I'll find another way to get what I want.
Honestly, he just seems like you're kind of wasting his time at this point. And so he's like, you can move on. And when you like stand there like looking at him for a moment,
he's just gonna stand there.
He's like, "I said move on."
Is this so? Which one is talking to me right now? The one that originally wanted to work with me, or the other one?
The human, the one that was looking for the money.
Okay, so is he the one that wanted to not do the paperwork? It's the same guy?
Correct.
All right. Let's say hypothetically, I had some credits. What are you looking for?
The guy, the Zabrak looks to his friend who's starting to get like annoyed that you're like asking that question. He's like, he's not the kind of person that does that. Let's just let him go. And he's like, "I don't know if we should let him go. It looks like he's trying to bribe up." He's like, and it's one of those like he grabs him by the shoulder and like holds him back. And now they're having that like, shoulder to shoulder kind of like whispered conversation to each other that you can pick up some of.
I'm gonna just like cut in. This is not a bribe. This is paying off the what's it called? The whenever someone's impounded, you pay off a certain amount.
Bounty.
Yeah.
The bounty, yeah.
The Zabrak is just kind of like, "Listen, just go see if you can find him on your own. Just good
Are you
luck.
saying you don't have him in your custody?
Good luck, buddy."
Okay. I'm going to damn, how do I want to handle this? I'm really going to try not to fight the police for once.
But Siam would just kill him. He would have killed him the second time he asked the
You
same
weren't
question.
here for a couple sessions. Do you have credits on your sheet? Because you should have a bunch from our last mission.
I do not. I've only got
It's
whatever I started with.
1,875 credits you should have, just so you know.
1,875. Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah. Because I don't, yeah. And then the ship had 7.5K, but we spent a bunch of it to repair the ship and stuff.
Okay, well, I can actually negotiate
We
now.
basically got paid 15K for the job, and then I split it, and half I give to the ship, so it's like a group fund, and then the other half I split between the 4 of us.
Okay, I'm going to. How do credits work? Can I give just a certain amount of credits? Can I lay down credits? Is it like a?
Yeah, technically speaking, credits are supposed to be like monetary value chips. I think that's kind of stupid, so I do it as like, and Mike and I agree on this. It's like USBs that have like a preloaded amounts of your choice. So it's
Okay.
kind of like, oh, this USB has 500. This USB has 32. This USB has 10,000.
Okay, I'm gonna look at the human and say, this guy is a headache. It's not worth your time. 200 credits to give him over and make him disappear
And so
out of your hair.
And so now, like now that you're saying that, you have to first of all you have to roll me a negotiation check, but because like conversation didn't go the way the cop wanted it to originally, the officer wanted to originally, it's going to be against 2 purple and 2 black dice.
There's no way with my 1 green and
Listen, it
negotiate.
goes the opposite direction. You could be rolling against 1 purple and 17 dice and still lose.
That's true. Actually, I'm going to try to coerce him a little bit. I'm going to say, listen, I'm sure that your superior would not like to know that you're trying to take bribes. So, 200 credits, you hand him over. I don't say anything. You don't have paperwork to deal with. Everybody goes home happy. How's that sound?
Okay, this is going to be a bit different. This is actually, you can do coerce. It's going to be 1 purple, 1 red. No black.
Okay. All right. And I think I might use a light side point here.
Okay.
That's an upgrade. Or I could use it to downgrade too, right?
You can downgrade that red if you want. Just make sure you apply the downgrade on the right and nothing on the left.
Okay. I'm going to do that. I'd really rather not have a despair against police officers.
I was kind of hoping.
Boom.
Okay, so you make your coercion check and you say that more or less like, I'm threatening to tell your superior officer. So you succeed, but despite that, so the guy says, so that when you make that threat, the guy actually starts stepping forward and says, did you just threaten me? And he like starts reaching for his blaster as he's like inching forward saying that. And then as I imagine Uroth is starting to react, whether if it's just like an annoyed eye roll or like a sigh or even like preparing to fight, whatever it may be, before Uroth's really starting to react in such a way, the Zabrak officer gets the guy's shoulder again. He's like, hey, you did literally just ask for a bribe. Just the guy's offering credits. Take the credits and we'll go. And he looks at him, and once again, it's like clearly the two of them don't see eye to eye on maybe anything. And he looks back at you, and he's like, 400 credits. 400 credits, and you walk.
It's not my money anyway. Fine. 400 credits.
Okay, you give him the 400 credits, and is one of those things where you actually hand him the 400.
Your money. What?
He has no use for money. He feels like this is just stuff you've handed him, and he's like, he wants his gear that's like the broken old gear. So he's like, I don't give a shit about money.
And so I'm sure he doesn't feel as though he's truly working
Yeah,
for it, too.
I'm sure you said that to her, and she was just like, take it, you'll need it.
Yeah, he was like, I eat. What else do I need?
So you give the guy the 400 credits.
The
and
Sith didn't pay very well back in the day.
he looks at the credits and like laughs. And he's like, I should have asked for 8. You know what I mean? And it's this guy. And so he takes the 400 credits. Like, yeah. So this is what happened. There was a couple of morons. They did some shots. They were firing some blasters. My apologies. There were a couple of morons. They were firing some blasters. One got away. One got caught. The one that got caught, he's being held up at a holding facility down in Section 32B3.
So go get him. I paid for him.
Oh, you paid to know where he was. You want me
No,
to go
I
and
paid
retrieve
for
him?
him.
Huh. You can go there and you can retrieve him. But I'll do this. And he pulls out his, officer's like data pad or whatever, which I imagine is like built to like the forearm of his suit. And he's like "Dit-dit-dit-dit," and like throws the information over to your data pad so that you have it there. And he's like, "There's some release papers. Good luck."
I'm so angry. I want to kill these guys, but we're like in the middle of some crowded street, I imagine, and it's Coruscant, so.
Mortifer needs blood.
Urat's just annoyed. But he's smarter than Mortifer and Siam, probably, so. He's just going to begrudgingly walk away. And so I'm going to look at this. Where this is he's in a jail cell, I'm guessing, is what this is?
Mm-hmm. Yep, a holding facility, yeah.
Okay, and how far away is this?
Honestly, it's a quick transit ride. When it's things like that, I don't even charge you the credits because it's credits.
Okay, so he's gonna like flash them like a kind of a creepy grin that hopefully just sends chills down their spine and then walk away.
Mm-hmm. So I still love the fact that the evil campaign.
I think you generally just give chills down their spine. I mean, you're kind of a creepy looking dude.
Yeah. You're a race that's dead. So
for everyone that wants me to kill these people, there's a couple of reasons I want to just explain why Urat's not just one to right away kill. One, this is a new place. He just woke up after thousands of years and doesn't know much of anything right now. But two, he's always served a higher Sith master or Sith empire of some kind. And if you go out of your way to disobey or show any kind of independence, it doesn't end well for you. And he doesn't really want to cause problems. His goal is not to cause problems for them in the city. He has a bigger goal in mind for the reason he's looking for Naga. So that's why I'm not killing everyone.
Cool. So you're able to hop on the transit. Obviously, you justified in your way of or this way of thinking. Not killing a cop in the streets is generally a good rule of thumb. So you hop into the transit and you bring yourself down to the area and are able to walk the rest of the way to the precinct. Now, one of the things to note when you get to this precinct is that most of the officers here are officers. They're actually droids that are going around and have like little sirens that are attached to them that maybe built into their head or maybe a little bit more obvious onto their backside because they're retrofitted to have them. But most of them, for the most part, are design security droids that are sent out to do things like chase people down when others would have a hard time doing so. They're a bit more agile, they're faster, higher jumping, but maybe not necessarily durable, right? And there's like a whole bunch of these that are like walking around and kind of patrolling the area nearby, because the simple fact of the matter is usually the neighborhood right around a police station is one of the worst neighborhoods. And so over in the section of the city where you are, right around the police station is not a very nice neighborhood. You also see that it's, two of these droid officers would be the ones that are like dragging in a person from time to time to be questioned or to be cuffed or whatever. And you see a few of like their speeders going off in different directions. It's a relatively busy precinct. Seems like it's actually of a decent size. It's hard to get a full gauge from out here. You have to like see a schematic or something because it's built into the side of towers that otherwise have a lot of size to them, right? So building different things above, different things below. I'm hearing banging upstairs going, what the hell is that? It's weird. Sorry. So,
That'd be
10:30.
awkward.
Maybe it's my daughter throwing all her books out of her bed. Like, I'm done reading this one. Okay. So, you are able to approach the precinct itself, and you're seeing all the activity that's going on. Nobody seems to take notice of you. Like, it's one of those, maybe a droid would stop and look you up and down, but you don't pop up on their radar for anybody that's wanted or anything like that. So nobody bothers you whatsoever. You're effectively a nobody here.
Okay, well, I'm gonna look for a counter or wherever you'd go to talk to somebody about getting something done here.
Sure.
terminal or whatever it may be.
Yeah. So you go walking in, and it's one of those, like, as you go into the police to the area, the first door you can easily go up and go into, and it actually brings you into an area that's closed off. You'd have to have somebody open the door for you to get into the second door. The people are constantly going by. The doors being opened every like 40 seconds, anyways. And there's like a little window where there's a, once again, droid officer that's standing there waiting to take anybody who's coming in. And so it's crazy. And so as you approach the thing, it's finally like your turn at the window. They're like, hello, stage, name, and purpose.
I have release papers here for a Naga that you have in your custody. I would like him released immediately. I'm going to hand the papers over.
Okay, so you just kind of like hand the data file, and they look at it, and they look it over. They're like, these were signed recently. Oh, I see it. It was signed by a lieutenant. Let me allow this to process in the system. Please wait. And like they gesture to a chair nearby for you to sit in, like a bench nearby for you to sit in. Do you sit?
Is there like a water cooler of some kind?
There will be a refresher, yes.
I was going to grab a drink and then pace angrily.
Unfortunately, 45 minutes pass.
I'm going to pace very angrily.
Another 45 minutes pass.
I'm going to go back up to the counter.
Okay, you wait like your time in line. 15 minutes pass before you get back up to the front desk. And so it's been, what's that, an hour 45? And you get it back up there like, hello, state your name and purpose.
You were supposed to be releasing a prisoner. I've been waiting several hours. I would like him now.
It takes time. Be patient. Please
How much
have
time?
a seat. Please have a seat.
Guess I'm going to go wait some more. What am I going to do? Like, coerce a robot? So I'm going to go...
About another 45 minutes after that, when Urath's really putting a lot of effort into like holding down his anger because this...
He's imagined different ways to kill every single person in this room.
I mean, the simple fact of the matter, Urath is somebody who's accustomed to the strict structures, like the strict way of living that maybe the Sith have put into place before, the stringent way of life, but not bureaucracy. Like this is a new level of evil that he's not familiar with, and so it's difficult for him to grasp. But like I said,
a new kind of torture that he wasn't put to whenever he was in the Sith Empire.
Oh man, that's a way to get somebody to answer questions. Just send them to the DMV every day. So like who needs waterboarding? So anyways, when you after that last 45 minutes pass, finally the gate opens up and an officer comes out and to speak with you. They come out, they're like, looking for a Naga? Someone out here looking for a Naga or Silwraith?
I'm going to stand up, not say a word, and just walk over there.
You walk over, like, he looks you up, he's like, ooh, hey, are you looking for Naga? The Trandoshan?
I was 4 hours ago, so I suppose I still am.
Yeah, he got himself into a little bit of a situation. He was kind of rattling off while he was in his cell, got into a bit of a scuffle.
Not my problem. The 4 hours you made me wait are.
Well, you're going to have to wait a bit more because he's got himself inside of solitary confinement. He's not going to be let out for several more.
The release papers were to have him out now.
The release papers were if he was in Gen Pop, but he's over in solitary right now, so you're going to have to wait until that's done.
How long is that?
Several hours. You know what, though? That bench is looking a bit more empty than usual. Perhaps you should grab a spot before you're stuck standing the whole time.
I hope you enjoy your job. I'll be back.
He watches after you as you like leave for like 3 or 4 seconds, and then he just stops giving a shit. And he goes in and shuts the door behind him, and you head off. Now, do you just kill time, or what do you do?
I don't know. I'll just go shop or something. If there's like a weapons or armor shop or something.
Sure. You kill time for a few hours, try to blow off a little bit of steam, but I imagine it's still bugging you in the back of your mind. I mean, it's just...
Oh, I'm livid.
How many hours pass? So how many hours do you allow to pass if we head back in that direction, Wade?
He said it would be another few hours.
Mm-hmm.
So 4.
Okay. You come back 4 hours later. I imagine you get back in line to the... or do you just wait?
I think I just wait. I think if I go up and talk to that robot again, I'm going to smash it.
So you go
and he's trying very hard to compose himself because he doesn't know the rules of this world anymore. but where he came from, there'd be a lot of dead people by now if things weren't done in a timely manner.
So, like you said, you come back 4 hours. You end up waiting another 45 more minutes after you get back
45
there.
more hours. I would kill everyone in here.
Eventually, you have the gate open up. It's the same officer looks out and he's like, "Someone out here looking for a Naga Silwraith." And then it's almost like as he's saying it, he realizes it sounds familiar.
I'm gonna stand up and look at him.
He
and
looks at you and is
very
like,
slowly approach.
Yeah, that's it. You. All right, you can come in.
Why am I coming in? Bring him out to me.
You have to finish the paperwork. We can't just like hand out a guy. Let's go.
I'm gonna walk and just wonder if this was worth it at all.
Because they totally couldn't have you doing the paperwork while you're sitting out there for fucking several
Of course
hours.
not.
So you go in and they sit you down at a desk. He lets you sit at the desk.
Who is the person taking me back? Is it a human?
It's actually, it's my apologies. It is a human. He's probably in his like early 50s, which is probably that day and age is, like early 40s because people live a bit longer. Maybe late 30s. So he's probably in his like early 50s. And
It's so easy to break a bone, snap a neck, stab him in the back.
And he's clearly like, this place is like a typical precinct. There's tons of desks everywhere. There's tons of different people being interviewed, people doing work, so on and so forth. So he sits you at a chair over by a desk, and he's like, "Yeah, sit right there." And he leaves and goes off. He's gone for about 10 more minutes before he finally comes back with like a cup of some hot beverage, and he sits down at his desk, takes one sip. And then he starts like typing away at his like digital display that he has in front of him to start pulling up paperwork. And he gets some paperwork over and he puts it in front of you. That again takes like another 7 or 8 minutes. And he's like, "All right," and you just start signing right here, right here, right. Just sign everywhere you see a line that has nothing on it.
My name means nothing, so I'm gonna sign it because it's like, what are they gonna find about Ura? So yeah, he's just gonna sign it. He's gonna sign it like real shittily.
This is Urath goes to the DMV.
This is Urath's hell.
Yeah. So you sit there for, again, probably signing everything. That does take another several minutes. I imagine your signature just gets worse and worse as it goes. And
by the end, it's just the letter U.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Okay, once everything's kind of taken care of, it's about another 15 minutes while he goes through it, make sure everything's correct, and kind of like plugs in all the information." He's like, "All right, we should have him out of here within like 45 minutes, 2 hours, somewhere in that frame. You can just have a seat right there." And he goes to get up and walk away. Now, Wade, I'd love you to do me a favor. Because this is like the bane of Urath's existence, and he's really trying to hold his patience right now, and it's very difficult for him to do. So, against a purple and a red, could you please do me a favor?
Mm-hmm.
Could you please roll me a discipline check? Hold on 1 second. Oh, sorry.
Wait, why didn't the red show up?
Because you still had the disadvantage. That's okay. Because I'm also going to do this, and you're gonna I'm gonna put a downgrade on your discipline.
How dare you? Are you doing that or should I do that?
Oh, you can apply it on yours. So get rid of the downgrade on this side. You can apply it on that side and have fun.
All right. Hey!
Oh! And despite the odds,
I did better with worse dice. That's our problem. We have too good a dice.
I must be it. So eventually you are.
His purpose is more important than his feelings.
That's
right
ridiculous.
Now. And he's been working with Sith for a long time. Discipline is something he has under control.
Probably. Please, Maggie, go ahead.
No, I'm nodding.
Okay, so
I think of all of our characters, like me and him are very disciplined characters. Like we will keep our cool internally. We are fueling rage.
Yeah.
So
unless you're gonna kill the person that you're pissed off at, you don't show that you're pissed off.
Exactly.
So probably the thing that allows you to hold it together a little bit better is it ends up being on the lower end of that. It was only about another hour and 5 minutes before finally this officer comes walking back out and has Naga with him, Naga in cuffs. And Naga comes out and like looks around for a little bit, and when he sees you, he looks a little perplexed for a moment, but he's like, "Ah, yes, Urath, oh, I knew Aris wouldn't forget me here. I'm so glad to see you. And like holds his arms out for the officer to remove the cuffs. And the officer is like watches everything, and then when he stops to hold the hands up, he's like, "How touching," and then like removes the cuffs to let the him go, and he's like, "And here's your Naga."
I don't say a word. We just leave. I like put my arm around Naga, to, like not in an embracing way, but in like a pushing him out way.
Okay, so you push out.
the
Naga's walking out.
romance.
And so as Naga's walking out with you, after you guys leave the precinct and like you're out that inner door and you're out the outer door, he turns to you, he's like, "Oh, I have to admit, Urath, I'm surprised it was you that came to get me. I thought Kuka would have killed the guards on my way to the prison, but at least Iris hasn't forgotten me. She knows I do good work for her."
I'm just gonna look at him and not even say a word. Like
Wait.
I want him to see the pain of on my face of what it's taken to get him out of here. Not the money. I don't give a shit about the money, but the time I had to spend. I just want that look to be on my face, and then we're just gonna keep walking inside. I'm gonna keep walking in silence. If he wants to talk, whatever.
So he's walking with you for a while. The silence goes on for a bit. Eventually he breaks it saying,
Yeah, what about her gun?
"Oh,
Kuka's
no.
gun. They confiscated it?
He would have gotten that back when he got out of jail.
It was a confiscated weapon for a crime. Did he have a permit on him to have the weapon and so on? Oh no, no. Listen,
It's not restricted.
I have been. It's one of those. Did he have his permit on him?
That's
It was used as
bullshit.
part of a
I'm
crime.
mad.
Evidence to a crime. So
Eat
he
him up, Doxy.
Hmm?
Said beat him up, Doxy.
Doxy's just
He
gonna
can go
hunt
break
down those
in-
officers.
He can go break into the precinct and steal or whatever. That's not my problem.
She
We can
has
just buy
one
her another
yellow.
one. We have so much money.
If you
One
try to get
yellow,
Urath to go
5
back to the
blue, and-
police station to file paperwork for that, he'll probably kill all of you too.
So he's walking with you.
More
Eventually,
about the nostalgia of the weapon, I think, because that was your. Which one was
She's
it? 'Cause
attached to them. It was tiny, but
was tiny,
still,
yeah.
like Eris got her those weapons, and it's like her first and only real possessions. I'm mad right now. I'm mad.
you don't know yet, so you're not allowed to be mad yet. So take a chill pill. Okay.
Kuka's probably cute when she's mad.
Oh, cute in a I just removed some man's legs with a toothpick kind of way.
That's the kind of cute that Eris is into.
It's still a little weird. So you are walking with him, like you said, in silence. And after a while, he breaks the silence, saying, "So, how is the repairs going on the ship?"
Not my department.
You can almost see him giddy with joy that he got you to actually speak again. He's like, "Oh, so that bad, huh? Oh, well, Aris will be happy to have me back to watch over that. They're damned fools, these humans. They don't know what they're doing."
Again, not saying anything.
So you walk with him, kind of like leading him for a while. Where do you kind of like lead him off to? Because he doesn't know how to get back to the ship from here.
Well, we're going back to the ship.
So you actually go back directly to the ship itself?
Yeah.
Okay. So when he sees the ship, as he's approaching from the outside, he looks like, look at that panel. You can see the miscoloring on it. They were supposed to use, and he like names some color, and instead they use this one. Now you can see it's off by 3 shades. I'm going to have some heads, I will. There will be bodies rolling. And
Is there anybody outside working on the ship right now?
yeah, there are 2 of the engineers that are out there.
Our engineers or like
No.
the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just people that are hired to do this job right now. And they're just doing like little work. They're not paying attention at all to you guys. Like one of them probably looks up, sees you coming, but ignores it.
Okay.
Okay.
So as we get back on the ship, if I remember right, the way this ship is, there's like a little entryway that wraps around.
Maggie, you want to post that the picture back into chat, por favors?
Yeah, sure. Let's post it for Twitch chat so they can see it.
Exactly. Muchos gracias.
I always have it up
So,
because, like, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's not only is it gorgeous, it's just like a bit complicated. Why
yeah, so
aren't
there's
you-
like a boarding ramp Yeah, so there's like a little boarding area that's separate from everywhere else, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you look down at 17,
We
that's
have
the actual
an
boarding
access
spot.
hatch and then the escape pod, and then it goes into the hollow terminal, which is like the main space that most people would use.
So if you're looking at this map for Wade and everybody else, you walk in 17 through 16, 15, around that bend into 10. 10 is the open area. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Your bedroom is effectively 7. They're effectively your bedroom is 7. So it's that open area.
He doesn't sleep in like the barracks, which is 11.
Correct. That's
noting that because people are like, why would he sleep in 7? That's the cargo hold.
That's
He's
Wade.
Cargo hold. Okay.
Yeah, Wade sleeps in the cargo hold. Everybody else sleeps in, aside from Aris, sleeps in. No, okay, Kuka's 15. He's 7. Aris is 5.
Yeah, so basically you have to
Everest
walk through Kuka's escape pod.
Yep. So funny.
Which smells like cat litter.
Yep. Cats are gross. So
She cleans it. She's a good cat owner.
they still smell. It smells like kitty litter, which also smells gross. So
Better than wet dog.
that's why you just don't get your dog wet. You let them never bathe ever.
Oh, I thought you said wet. Never mind.
Oh, moving on. So you make
Yeah,
your way around to number 10.
That's
and-
why.
Sometimes.
Yeah, so we're not getting to 10. Well, as soon as we go up that entrance ramp, I'm gonna let him go first.
Mm-hmm.
And as the thing closes behind us,
So as the thing's like, as you guys are walking up and as the thing's closing, he's actually gonna say, "Is like, how many of these idiots have been dragging stuff through here? You can see scratches on the ground. They need to learn to lift their equipment." Go ahead, whatever you're gonna do.
I'm going to just say, yes, there are a lot of lessons to be learned here, and I'm going to stab him in the back through the heart with my force pike.
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Well, you've completely caught him off guard. So I'm going to give you 2 blue dice on that. And he is not aware of the attack roll whatsoever. So I'm not going to... I'm going to give you 1 purple that you're rolling against. And
Okay.
You're welcome to have your moment.
Sorry, Naga.
Oh, do you want to use a light side point for this? And don't forget, it's 2 blue dice in your roll.
Okay.
Don't
2
use a
blue
light
dice.
side point to kill Naga.
No, I don't think I need a light side point.
I'm not going to use the dark side to count it.
So,
Okay. That is, unfortunately, you didn't use the attack one, but that's enough to critical hit, I'm pretty sure. I'm just going to go... Where is...
oh yeah, I didn't do combat.
Yeah, it's okay. Under
I can
combat.
click the weapon one real quick.
No,
I'll
you're
just-
fine. I can see what it is.
Okay.
That's 12. Holy... No. Okay, there it is.
That also is a
Okay.
crit.
Yeah, it is a crit, which is awesome. Could you do...
If it's
me-
enough to kill him, I don't care.
Pierce 2. Roll me that crit anyways. I'm just curious. Or actually, I
How
have
do
to
I
roll the
roll
crit, don't
crit?
I? Does your force spike have any of those awesome critting abilities, or do you?
I do. I have lethal blows, I believe.
Okay, because Nago is actually a fairly tough character because he's a Trandoshan. Those aren't women. They can regrow limbs. You know what I mean? They're actually relatively tough characters. But okay, so you
I
stab him
have
from behind.
lethal.
I can't believe you
Blows.
stabbed Naga.
Critical injuries.
Lethal blows 1.
Wait,
Okay.
why are we stabbing Naga?
We aren't. I am.
Why?
You didn't pick up on that? That's
Okay,
what
so literally it loops around because he got stunned by the attack. It literally just stunned the shit out of him. It literally loops back around to your turn. So you stab him in the back and you try to stab him in the heart. You may have hit it, you may not have. But again, Trandoshans are very resilient creatures. They can literally regrow limbs and they can heal their hearts and stuff like that. So even if you did clip the heart, it might not be enough to kill him. So you pull the spear back out and you're going to have to go through again with the second one. And so this roll is going to, because he gets no actions or anything like that, I will allow you to do the same exact roll on this next one. And you can do your combat version of it.
All right. So I'm actually going to turn him around. I'm going to pull it out, turn him around, and I'm going to look him in the eye and say the same exact thing. There are many lessons to be learned here, and stab him again.
Okay. That's another fucking 8 points of damage with 2 piercing. So that is technically, he has 16. So, sorry, he has 15, so that's enough. You do a critical hit against him. Hold on. With a 10 offset. Until healed, do not perform any more than 1 maneuver at a turn. And then because you overhit his health points, that's another critical hit. Knocked prone. and suffers 1 strain. So now, like, so more or less, as you stab in the chest again, he like stumbles backwards, and as you like are like using your force to push him forward, you can actually hold the spear and like throw him to the ground. So now he's at the ground at your feet, like gasping for breath on the ground, on his ass, unable to move or anything. And you just are standing over him. Do you like pull it out and go for a third final one, or?
I'm gonna start carving words into his chest.
You better clean up that mess.
Thanks, Maggie.
Just saying, if I come back and there's blood everywhere.
Remove the 2 blue. Well, you can keep 1 blue because I imagine you're aiming with this, right?
He's unconscious now, right?
Technically, he's still alive and gasping for breath. And you make your final attack, or I imagine it's your final attack. Just remove 1 blue and make the attack, yeah. Okay. So it's straining because, unfortunately, it's been a long time since you've done something like this. But you start carving words into it, and as you do so, he's just like, ah! And like he'll like go to squirm for a little bit, and sometimes like,
I don't even know. I think I might leave if he's partially alive. I might not even try to fully finish killing him. I might just leave him completely unconscious. And if he dies, if he bleeds out and dies, so be it.
He probably will. But so whatever you're carving, we'll get to in a second. You can literally like put your foot over him to like hold him down to finish doing like the carving into his chest and whatnot to carve out the words. By the time you finish, or probably right about as you're finishing, maybe just beforehand, he just falls unconscious. He just loses all consciousness. You don't check his vitals because you don't give a shit.
No, I don't.
But as you go walking, I imagine, into the rest of the ship itself, you leave the body that's there. We'll worry about what it was you wrote there in a bit. But first, let's pull the camera back over to Maggie. Maggie, Kuka had sat down next to you and had the treat. Do you say anything to her? Or does she say anything to you?
On the ground. I sat down on the ground at your feet.
No, I'm just eating my food and thinking.
Kuka say anything or no? Okay. You're just sitting there and thinking for a little bit. It's kind of like, what should I do next? Where should things go? And that's when all of a sudden you hear a voice say, oh, it's a bother, isn't it?
What's a bother?
Wandering around aimlessly, trying to find your way into somebody else's home without their permission. But it's a bit of a bother.
Yeah.
Well, who are you? He says. And the voice is coming through like a bit of a meadow echo, and kind of like trying to track where that is that you're hearing it. The little hatch that you're like, oh, that's probably is where he, from behind where the animals were up there had crawled into. It seems as though that's where his voice is coming from. Like you weren't wrong before. You just thought that's okay. Animals lived inside there, but apparently his voice is able to come out of there as well.
Okay. I don't move. I still sit on the crate that I'm sitting on.
Do you even look up towards it, or not really?
I don't look up towards it, but I notice that that's where I perceive where that's coming from, and I say, doesn't matter who I am. It's what I have to offer.
Well, you just better start offering, because for now it just looks like a dumb little lady with walking around and not knowing how to find her way in.
Kuka would not stand for that. Kuka would not stand for that. Kuka would look up at Eris, and like you'd be able to see on her face that she was not happy.
Eris puts her hand, like Eris takes another bite out of her food, puts her hand up at Kuka because she sees Kuka getting riled up. Like,
she probably does start like,
let me at him.
Yeah, like might even start getting up.
Yeah, and as you get
probably
up,
isn't much change in her height.
You're like, okay.
Yeah.
She kind of smiles. She just gives a little smirk and says, I was just admiring it.
Admiring the maze?
Less of a maze and more of, I like how you keep things.
Yeah. Mine. And you want something that's mine. What do you want?
I don't want anything that's yours, per se.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you don't have an offer then. Have a good day. And you can
How
hear
do you
like
feel
footsteps
about-
echoing in there.
A Fury class Imperial Interceptor.
It's hard to hear because it's faint, but the footsteps stop. Several moments pass. Did she say or do anything, or should she keep waiting?
Pristine quality.
A couple more scraping. You hear the footsteps make their way back slowly, tentatively, but make their way back over. Again, it's very faint. And he's like, "Did you say a Fury class?"
Yeah. She kind of like looks down at her hands. Then she has finished eating the food now.
You say it's pristine, rebuilt, surely.
No, original.
No, can't be. You must be lying. You must be.
Maybe you need to see it for yourself.
Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Maybe I have to. Maybe I have. Oh, Fury class. I've seen these before. I've touched them before. I've seen these before. Fury classes. Oh. Oh. You know what the best part about a Fury class is?
I'm sure you're about to tell me.
Ah, the Fury.
She doesn't say anything. Inside her head, she's thinking, oh my God.
Well then, what's the offer? Come on, come now. I'm not going to live forever.
A chance for you to work on the ship.
Touch it on the inside, you say?
And the outside if you want.
Ah, I'd like to have my hands all over the Fury class. Pristine, you say. It must be rebuilt. It must be. Lies you're telling me. You're a liar. I can hear it in your voice. You put a lot of effort into that voice. It must be lies.
Everyone lies.
Oh, of course. Yes, every night when I sleep. It's the best way to be comfortable.
Oh, I killed the wrong person.
I like him. Eris smirks and looks down at Kuka and kind of like rubs Kuka's head and stands up and kind of like walks towards like the way out and looks back and like talks back towards where his voice is coming from and says, well, if you want to see it, that's where we're headed.
You hear a loud scraping of metal against metal, and then a heavy clank, and then you hear like something like almost like something drops, and another clank of metal again. First bit sounded like it was kind of like in the walls or on the other side of the walls. Then the last part almost sounded like the floor or the whole area around you. It was kind of hard to make out. But then literally the wall that's next to where you're sitting slides open. It didn't look like it was a door before because it was pressed together. The panels looked like they belonged exactly as they were with the junctions. But it actually slides open to a fairly heavy, like literally a wall itself opens up, and it's the wall of a spaceship. So they're rather thick. Swings open almost like a bank vault. And on the other side, what you see standing there is a, shit, I forgot the name of that race. Oh my God, I forgot the name of that race. I'm so sorry. The super paley white ones.
Super pale ones.
Oh, give me one second. I believe it begins with an A. The Arcanans. Yes.
God, there's so many.
Arcanans? I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm the worst.
Finally, you admit it.
Arcanian?
I think it's Arcanians.
Arcanian? Yeah, they are very pale. Arcanians, I think that's who you're looking for.
Yep. So the Arcanian is standing in front of you.
They're kind of human-y looking, maybe.
Give me 1 second to double check because once again I'm the worst because I didn't.
But they are really pale. Like,
Okay. So Arcanian standing before you. This is an old Arcanian. I mean, very old Arcanian that's standing there, and he's and he's the way he looks, like his hair is all over the place. It's a mess. It looks partially shaved in some areas and not in others. His beard is all grown out and all like kind of gangly all over the place. You're pretty sure you see like some sort of like centipede-like creature crawling through his beard, which is hanging down. His clothes themselves look as though they were at one point in time extremely regal clothing, but he probably found them somewhere because the number of tears and rips inside of them. The only reason why you can't see his naked body underneath that is because underneath that layer of like very regal clothing is another completely worn out, torn up bit of regal clothing that's there. Clearly of two different civilizations all together, the oil stains, the food stains and whatnot. He's standing there and he's holding a staff for him to walk with, but it's not like it's a staff comprised of something simple like wood or metal or whatever it is. It's actually a whole bunch of different things that are tied together by like bits of wire and whatnot. Like he easily could find a piece of metal or wood or some other material that he can use the full stick to walk with, but for some reason he has something that's comprised of a whole bunch of different things held together, so as he like takes a step forward and puts a little bit of weight onto it, you actually see the whole thing kind of like shifting underneath the weight of him doing so. And honestly, the man, he looks completely blind in one eye. His it's completely milked out, almost the same color as his flesh. The other one still has a bit of darkness to it, despite the age that he has. There are scars all over his body, and he's like, "So you come in then?
So you what then?
So you come in then?"
No, you're coming with.
I've got to get my things if I'm going to be working on Fury Class. Oh, Fury Class. It's furious. It's furiously classy. Oh, classy.
Fine, gather your things.
You wait here. And he goes in, and like you could hear him walk in the door and turn around a corner, and then the footsteps immediately stop. After he turns around a corner, moments pass. Moments slide into minutes.
I lean up against the wall and look down at Kuka and shrug.
One point in time, you hear like a coughing, like kind of a muffled cough from just around the corner.
After a while, I like, if it takes quite a while for him, I like look down at her and I'm like, hopefully he doesn't die before we get there.
Oh, no, I've got all my things now. And he comes back around, and he has nothing extra with him. He's literally just comes back around looking exactly as he did a few moments beforehand. And he's like, all right, I've got my things. Let's go. And he starts walking and making his way out. Now, despite the fact that he has the cane, he's actively using, he does put weight on it, so on and so forth. He actually walks with one of his legs having a heavy limp to it, and his back kind of crooked in a funny way. He actually walks at a pretty speedy pace. You know, he's somebody that's used to like almost like being driven by the whip sort of a pace, right? It's actually fast for Eris. Eris always has a place to go and needs to be there on time, but is smart enough to plan out her trip accordingly. So she arrives when she wants to be without needing to hurry. You know what I mean? She has that like walk with purpose without necessarily speed. He walks with speed and almost no purpose. You know what I mean? He's the exact opposite. And so he starts like meandering ahead, and he's like looks back at you like which way he's supposed to go next, and then kind of makes a judgment call and starts walking down even further. Most of the time he picks the right way. Sometimes like and you know, it heads back the other direction you're going, and then just kind of like walks past you some more. The guy seems very, very erratic and all over the place.
Along the way, if I see any place where I can grab him clothes or get him a shower, I would like to do so. We'll pay out of my own pocket.
That's very easy for you to do, get him clothes and a shower or whatever. You can just take like 15 credits away, it's not a big deal. Just some basic stuff unless you're trying to get him something nicer. And it's very easy to do so. He does take the shower.
This is for herself more than for him. He might feel like it's for him, but it's not. It's really just for Harris.
Well, so he takes the shower, and it does help with the smell, unless you get too close. However, you don't think he washed his beard, face, or hair at all while he was in there.
I will send him back in, and I will pay whatever extra I need to.
No, if you try to send it back, like, there's nothing wrong with me. The only thing that's being wrong is the waste. I need some time with the Fury. I need to be inside of it.
Do this.
That's it. Just do this.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm
Like,
gonna give
points
you.
back.
I'm gonna give you a coercion on this one because you're clearly
Okay.
like you're giving an order, but it's actually not like he's such a wonky, all over the place man. I'm actually gonna have you roll against one purple and one black,
Okay.
and then I think just because I want to mess with Maggie a little bit, I'm gonna give a dark side to cause an upgrade to that.
Upgrade on his end. Okay.
The
Cool.
dark side did not wash his beard.
We'll see how it goes.
Hey man, that's his lucky beard.
I'm fine.
Okay, she's perfectly fine. He's like, oh yes, of course, and he goes in there, and when he comes out, he's actually this time.
She's just like standing there pointing, and she's like,
When he goes in there, and this time you send like somebody in there to take care of it as well. When he comes out, he's completely
no,
shaven.
Kruka's standing there with a gun. I'm just kidding.
When he comes out, he's completely shaven. His beard is completely brought down to the skin. His hair is completely brought down to the skin. His eyebrows have even been taken off. Like he's completely shaven, 100%. And you can see like the liver spots in the side of his head, and like the pock marks and the other scars and whatnot. And when he comes out, out and he just walks right past you. He's like, "All right, I'm getting the fury. I'm getting the fury. We need the fury." And he starts walking past you like with that speed, but not necessarily knowing where he's going.
Yeah, we head back now. There's nothing else. As my boyfriend's sneezing. Sorry.
Oh, I heard "get down" and I was freaking out. I was like,
I thought they yelled Eris.
Right now.
Eris!
No. Yeah, and she'll just try to help him, make sure he's going the right way.
And you guys are able to get back on transports and get back to your vessel. So you're able to walk into the vessel, and when you do so, you can see that the crew...
Did you see, Scott, have you seen what I sent you?
In a moment. You can see that the crew, as you are walking as you're walking up towards your vessel, there are the four engineers that have been working on the vessel.
Yeah, the guys who are preparing it.
They're not working at the moment. They're all standing outside, more or less in a circle, having a fervent conversation. And as Aris is, imagine, very annoyed walking up to this, why don't we take our next break and see what happens when we come back. Bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome
one.
back.
There's never a one.
Well, you don't say one. You go 5, 4, 3.
Yeah, haven't you ever seen Wayne's World?
Wayne's World. Wayne's
If
World.
that's who we're
party
basing
time,
on how to do things
excellent.
correctly on, we already have a few problems.
Oh, I like Wayne's World. I like Garth. Garth makes me happy.
Wayne's World is easily in my top 10 favorite movies. of
Dude,
all time.
Dunce reminds me of Garth. Reminds me of Dunce. That just clicked. Oh my god.
Yeah, super.
Oh, that's so funny. If you don't believe me, Dunce Bass at DUNCEBASS. YouTube him or Twitch him.
He is a modern day Garth for
he's
sure.
A modern day Garth. That is awesome.
Excuse me, I'd like to get by now. I'm watching Wayne's World tonight. It's just
I know, seriously. I'm like, should I go fire stick that? All right. So, anyways, you go walking up and you see that there are the 4 crew members outside the ship. They're having a conversation with one another. Mage will wait because you're having a pizza delivered. As you walk up to it, like, oh, I'm glad I called. What's it called? Go Get Me Food app. And I've never
that's
used
the
it.
one.
Go get me.
I've never
Go
used
get
that.
me food app.
I've never used the app in my life. I pick up the phone and
On one of those portaphones.
yeah. So my communicator. So as you're approaching the ship, there are the 4 crew members. There are the 4 engineers standing outside of it. Grubhub. That's what it's called. Grubhub. Never used it.
Well, there's multiples.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
There's
Uber
a
Eats,
bunch.
DoorDash.
It's one of those things where
Grubhub works.
there's Uber and there's Lyft, but like there are way more. But you just more or less say Uber.
There's also Uber Eats.
That's a thing.
Yeah, and DoorDash.
I saw that one in chat. Oh, I saw that one in chat too. Oh, I don't know. Just, it's okay. So you're walking up. The 4 people are outside.
Okay. I'm gonna walk over to them. I'm paying them to work, and they're standing over to the side, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I will go over to them, and if they are not hurriedly going back to work, I will stand there with my arms crossed, looking at them.
They actually all turn to look at you, and they get like this look in their face, and one of them's just like shaking his head at you, and he's got like again like a look in his eyes.
Okay. What happened?
And he just gestures towards the open plank like door for you to go up.
I'm gonna like motion Kuka to go forward first,
She will happily do it.
and I'll follow.
The important thing to ask is Kuka literate?
No, she's definitely. I don't think she would be.
So Kuka, when you go walking in, what you see is right at the top, like right in front of like your more or less like as he collapses, his head is actually in the doorway to your like chambers, but his body's over in that first like loading area that you get into onto the ship, like just past the airlock where the in the airlock area where the ramp drops down, right? And his body's there in a pool of blood all around him. You see there's Naga just lying there in a pool of his own blood, perfectly still. You can't tell if there's any breathing or anything like that. His shirt has been ripped open, maybe cut open, maybe ripped open. It's hard to tell with first glance, and the whole thing's soaked in blood anyways. And there are letters scrolled across his chest. But Kuka's kind of an idiot, and so can't understand what it says. But you're able to see there's Naga just lying dead right there.
All right, so Kuka's gonna look back to Eris and go, Kuka and found Naga.
I will go in and look.
So what you same thing that you just see, and that I just described, and when you're looking at the body, what you're actually able to see the letters that scrolled across the chest, and these are written in relatively any particular language, Wade? I didn't even ask you that.
Just basic or
Yeah,
whatever.
the basic,
whatever.
whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, the most common language around or whatever. So intergalactic basic. You see the words written across that say loyalty or liability.
At first, upon seeing the dead body there, Eris was very pissed off. But upon reading the message, A slight smile comes on her face. And she says over comms, where is this? Everyone to the holo terminal.
Okay. There's no way that you can step around the blood. There's just too much of it. You have to step through it. And so therefore you're going to be tracking it.
Oh, it's not on the holo terminal? I thought that's where he was.
No. He was in the loading
Boarding
area. Number
In the
more or
boarding
less
ramp?
16, yeah.
Oh, okay. I will say everyone to the boarding ramp then.
Okay.
I won't step over. I'll just stand there. I want to be on the opposite side as they're coming in to the room.
Lotris doesn't listen to you because he's left a few hours ago and isn't here right now. But Bezwi does come in, and M3, M1, T1M comes in, but the engineers don't. They're outside, so they're not like in the inner PA area. Though you could poke your head outside and say the same thing to them if you'd like, if you care to. So it's just Bezwi and
Urath walks out there.
the droid.
Kuka is standing right at Eris's feet. She just followed, like, almost synchronized steps. Like,
Urath's gonna walk like to the doorway, holding the force pike that all this was done with,
So-
and just stand there like leaning on it.
So
You said it's Bezwi, and does Visit join?
I forgot about Visit. Do I have a character
You always
sheet?
forget about him.
Because I don't have a character sheet for him because I'm a shitty person. So
Oh.
Visit comes
These are
out as well.
splicers, so
Yeah. No, Visit comes out as well. My apologies. Visit comes out as well. And so he's out there. And
So everybody but Lotris is what you're saying,
yes.
and the robot probably.
No, the robot comes too, actually. He listens
Okay.
to your orders.
Cool.
And when you see Wade when you come out, there's a crazy looking bald guy with no hair anywhere above his shoulder line. That is standing there with her leaning on a piece
They're
of
actually kind of
garbage.
cool looking.
I'm sure some of the Sith I've seen in the day looked pretty damn crazy and gross. So this guy's nothing.
Sure. He does have a unique odor to him that you can pick up, but that's a different conversation entirely. So everybody gathers in that area, as you requested.
I don't walk in. Like I said, I stand back at the doorway, leaning on the force pike.
I would like to just look at everyone and see if I can figure out who did it just from looking at their faces.
I think it's pretty obvious because you see the force pike. It's the edged weapon. There's still blood on it. Wade.
Okay, so I know that.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
I look immediately past everyone else and right at Urath. And I kind of point my finger and motion for him to come forward. I don't say anything, I just do that.
He doesn't step forward. Instead, he speaks and he says, "You asked me to teach you and to help you grow into a more powerful force user. And this is your first lesson. This man is still alive as far as I know.
Kuka
You
would
must
run
decide.
out at those words and go and, like, lift up Naga's hand.
You must decide if he
Splashes
is
back in coagulating blood.
if he is
She would
worth your
start
loyalty,
dragging him to the medical bot.
if he is worth your loyalty or if he is a liability. But he must be one or the other. He cannot be left to be a loose end."
She smiles at that. And she looks at everyone else and says, "You heard that, right?"
When nobody answers at first, does she say anything?
No, she's just looking in their eyes to see if they are like, okay.
I mean, Visits, honestly, he's just kind of like, yeah. Like, he's, like, disinterested. Bezwi stands at greater attention. But, I mean, this is something that might stand out to the two of them. But Aris, he usually stands at attention like this, too, anyways. And the M3, M1, T1M is watching Kuka curiously drag the body over, attempting to drag the body over, but she's not very strong. And the body is
She's
very
pretty
large.
strong.
Is she? What's your brawn? Or brawl, or whatever it's called.
Braun is-
2.
2? Oh,
Like,
okay.
for
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
size, I
So
think that's
you're dragging the body
her
over,
attitude.
and M3, M1, T1M is like watching curiously as you're doing that. It almost seems to be amused by it. And the old man next to you is listening to this as well, and he's like looking down at the body and he's kind of like nodding his head, like,
Kuka likes him, She thinks that Eris is upset that he's dead, so she's trying to save him. She did not hear any of that stuff that went on, and even if she did, she probably wouldn't understand because that was kind of cryptic, a little, you know?
And Eris getting like kind of the recognition that she's hoping for, says, "This isn't a lesson that I need to learn, perhaps. You think it is, though. You haven't been here long enough."
Leaving this man to possibly fall into the hands of your enemies is a weakness. And with that, he's just gonna turn and walk away. He's not even gonna wait for anything else.
You like step over Kuka dragging him.
I don't think he ever went across. I think he was already on the other side, right?
Like I never actually
Yeah.
fully walked in. I just
Yeah.
stood in the doorway, back far away from the body.
Yep.
Basically, he just wanted to get those words across, and if she decides
She
she wants to
says-
kill him or something later, that's up to her. But that's
She says over the comms, "Clean up the body."
is that to me?
Yeah.
You say that, and this is where M3M12NM actually speaks up and says, "Well, technically, mistress, this is not a body in the sense that you were referring to it. This is not a corpse. I was instructed to keep it alive for your decision making. So I have pumped it with a coagulant that, well, perhaps putting a little bit of stress on it, it's enough to keep it alive for a little while. Naga is not yet dead."
Kill him.
Immediately leans over and with a
I say this over comms so Ureth can hear it if he's still walking away.
when you say that, because assuming that you're speaking to him because you just were before, M3M1 leans over with, you can see a surgical tool pops out and just like slits an important area. It's like 2 slits because of how quickly they heal. Slits like the throat and then down over by the leg, and you can see just more blood pouring out of it. And
So, like,
Says again,
drops the jacket or whatever she was holding on to and just kind of like looks down disappointed and then shrugs and then goes and takes her place by Eris's feet.
yeah, Eris says over the comms again, looking past everyone else and towards the door where Ureth had walked away. And are you turning backwards, like coming back?
Mhm.
No, I'm talking to Ureth.
Oh, sorry.
Are you coming
Yeah,
back when
he
she says
heard
that?
kill him and clean it up, so he's gonna come and
Yeah,
do
as she
something
hears
about
his
it.
footsteps forward, as soon as he comes back into the view, she says, she just like smiles at him, turns around, kind of pets Kuka on the head again and says, "It's okay, there'll be more." And she turns back to everyone else, "Get back to your stations." And she walks back out of the ship and back to the other engineers.
Kuka would walk up to the medical droid at this point and say, Naga am have tiny.
So before I approach that, just to finish painting what Maggie was just asking about. So Visit, once again, he wasn't really paying attention the whole time. It's kind of like averting his eyes or whatever, and it's not really being... You imagine if he had like a handheld Sudoku, he'd probably be playing that during this. He eventually just kind of like rolls off the door frame he was leaving on and goes back to where he was, trying to avoid
This
the
is like
scenario
the fourth
entirely.
person who's seen me murder.
And then there's what's his name, Bezwi. Once again, just when you give the order, like go back to your duties, he just turns and he walks away with a straight back and purpose, like he always does. Just accepts it for as it is. And then M3M1 actually starts to go to clean up the body, but then Kuka, you walk up and say, more or less, did Naga have Tiny on him? And M3M1 says, Tiny. Well, I did at one point in time do a medical examination of almost all the crew, and in my professional opinion, perhaps it was a little bit lower than average.
Oh,
I don't
boy.
know if Kuka
Kuka
understands.
points, yeah, she doesn't get it. Kuka points to Gan and then holds her hands up like this. Tiny.
I do not understand what you're trying to say. Perhaps you could assist me in disposing of the body.
It's gonna be like the robot where it's like, I do not understand your question. Please repeat the question again. And it just keeps going over and over.
Try going to the police station.
Well, Kuka knows now that that Urath had killed him. So she's gonna walk up to Urath now and say, Naga am have Tiny?
I was not given back any of Naga's possessions. It's in the custody of the police.
Where am Tiny?
In the custody of the police.
The species doesn't exactly speak very intelligently, does it? I'm not familiar with it. And then you can see like
can kill you before you can blink.
you can see like a sensor like reveals itself because it's doing like a body scan of you, Kuka, and like it's like doing a rebody.
Nagri speak intelligently as far as I know. It's just that Kuka's
Kuka doesn't.
fucking dumb.
And then it says, "Ah, that is correct. You happen to be a Nagri. Apparently, this is just a particularly stupid breed of it." And then goes back to grabbing the body and trying to lift it up. The way it does lift up the body, though, because it is a large body, it's already been drained of much of its blood. It actually immediately goes to like pulls out almost like a bone saw and like removes an arm, and it's like cutting through the flesh like right next to you guys. You're having your conversation, and it'll actually remove the arms and legs just to make it easier.
Like hear the sawing of bone while we're having this talk.
I just imagine
that's
like
horrifying.
splattering Kuka's 2 sets of goggles, and she's just unmoving, like looking up at Urath, like, take me to my fucking gun, dude.
I was given a task before I can clean up or go help you find your gun. And with that, he's gonna like pick up the body parts. I don't know where can we dispose of the body. I don't even know.
Do you say that?
I'm sure there's like an incinerator on the ship, right?
No, I'm just like, do I know? I guess is more the.
You probably don't then. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, space.
Yeah, but we're on the planet right now.
Definitely ask Kuka because she has.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna ask Ares. Kuka, where should we dispose of this body, and then I can help you find Tiny.
Oh, do not be concerned about that. I'm very accustomed to cleaning
Enough,
up messes.
droid. I was told to get rid of the body. I shall do it. If you want to clean up the blood, you can.
It drops the limbs it's currently holding to splash back down the coagulated blood on the ground and says, "Very well then, I have other tasks to get to," and walks
The
off,
blood
leaving
is
more
your task.
It stops, looks back, and says, "Are you looking for my assistance or not? I believe I'm not taking orders from you."
You did before. You will again. Clean up the blood. I'll get rid of the body.
I take your words under advisement. He looks like over towards the doorway and turns back and says, "Best we not upset the mistress." And then goes over and it's once again like its hand opens up to like a suction and you can hear like it's sucking like this. It's just picking up
Like the jelly blood. Oh god.
The worst part is
It's like totally normal for our ship, but it's just like so gross.
so as it's sucking up the blood, it actually has like a canister within itself it uses to hold the blood, and eventually like that fills, and it has to go into the medical area to empty the canister before it comes back to continue cleaning up more.
Hey, it might be useful if we ever need to transfuse somebody.
So
Yeah, it could be real sassy
Well,
asshole.
it's
That does
probably
it too.
ruined blood at this
I mean,
point.
it's-
Oh yeah, that's true.
remember the equipment dragged on the ground and then
Oh,
blueprints
yeah.
and-
All right, so Kuka looks up at Urat then and says, she like does her hissing laugh. She's like, and she starts dragging body parts to the airlock and says, "And fly away and push button."
Sure. As long as it gets done.
Tiny?
That may be a discussion to have with Eris, because if we try to get Tiny back, we're going to have to get on the wrong side of the police.
Tiny am stolen.
Something like that.
Tiny am Kuka's.
Tiny am polices right now.
She hits her knee. She's trembling a little bit. She's starting to get mad at you because you know where her gun is, and that gun was a gift from Eris. She's
Perhaps you and Naga shouldn't have gone and messed up last night, and then Naga would be alive and your gun would be in your possession.
Kuka am go alone.
Fine with me.
All right, Kuka sets off.
Don't even talk to Eris, you just go.
Yeah, no, she just goes. She wants her fucking gun back, dude.
I think at
That
this
will be a
point,
really funny.
I see like a Groundhog Day scenario, so I'm just gonna like rub my temple and walk over to tell Eris what's going on. Less to tattle and more to be like, we need to do something about this.
Meanwhile, I think what would have been happening while they were doing all of the cleaning and having their discussion about the gun, Eris, after she like kind of patted Kuka on the head and said what she said to her, kind of looks back over towards the old bastion and says, "What do they call you?" And she starts walking off the ship, expecting him to follow and
We had
answer.
a great introduction to our ship.
Yeah.
Oh, he's just stepped around the blood and over the blood and whatnot. Remember where he lived? You know what I mean? Like he lived in,
God.
like
He probably
really,
has
really bad
dogs
area.
that eat people in front of him, you know? Like,
Yeah.
So you say, what did they used to call you?
No, what do they call you?
What do they call you? Oh, all sorts of things. Crazy old kook, nutty old man, brainless
What
one.
do you want to be called?
Um,
As he's taking his time, she stops for a moment and looks back at him and says, "It can be any name." And then she looks at him.
he actually looks a bit excited at that. He's like, then crazy old fury. Hmm. And he says, like, going over to the console that has the holo display and whatnot. And he goes over to the console and he presses one button to like turn
We're
it
leaving
on.
the ship, though.
Oh, as you're leaving the ship?
Mhm.
He looks at the console longingly then,
Okay.
and then leaves the ship with you.
Yeah, if I see him looking longingly, I'll be like, "I'll give you the tour after we deal with this. You might want to be involved."
Sure.
And as we're walking off the ship, I tell him like the rules, and I tell him how pay works, and I tell him who else is on the ship, and I tell him basically what is going on currently that we're having repaired. And by then, I'm expecting that we're coming up upon the group of people who are supposed to be working on the ship who are not.
Yep, so he listens to all that, and you're like, do what I say. He's like, sure. And you're like, don't touch me. Sure. And then you're like, shut up. Simple, right? And he goes, it's kind of hard to get your attention and ask you questions if I can't talk. That's a stupid rule. I like the other two. We'll do the rule of two. I know the rule of two. And then, again, you're kind of like approaching the rest. And I don't know if you choose to continue that conversation or.
As he says that, I say, it's more a general thing. If you need to get my attention for something important, speak up.
He's like, okay. And he looks over at the others. He goes, they're lazy. Who are they?
They're your new employees. I look over as we walk up, I say that, and I look at him and I'm like, I point up at where they're supposed to be repairing the ship, and I say, we need repairs. Now, these are not functional repairs. I just want her to look beautiful. Fury, I expect that to happen. And I look at the others and I say, this is your new boss. And I turn around and I walk away.
So you turn around, you walk away. He goes, can I speak up?
She stops. She doesn't turn to look at him. What is it, old crazy Fury?
He goes, when you say that, he like takes it in for a second. He's like, yep, that one works. I don't need employees. I'll just do the job.
You may change your mind. And she continues to walk forward.
He goes, may I speak up again?
This time she turns around and just looks at him.
They got squeamish over a dead Trandoshan. Who gives a shit about that?
I look at them.
They look a little freaked out about the fact that they just are a corpse sitting on the ground with letters carved into its chest. Most people would think that's an appropriate reaction. The fact that they're still here is maybe a little out of the ordinary.
I look at them and I say, do you think you can still keep doing your work?
They're all afraid to say no. So it's like one at a time, very slowly, they just kind of start like nodding yes.
And I look back at him and I say, everyone needs to learn. Sometimes people react differently to their first dead body.
All right, employees, he says, like more or less satisfied with the situation. He turns around and he says, you're the one that gets me my food. You're the one that gets me my tools. You're the one that gets me my pants. You can take them too. Actually, start with that now. And you're the one that can crawl into the engine. Let's go. Pants boy.
I love him.
And again,
we just go back.
I liked Naga, but I like him as well.
And so
He reminds me of the crazy old guy from King Killer. The crazy old guy that's at the school forever and ever. Why can't I think of his name? You know who I'm talking about, though.
Gonna have to add a command Fury. Pants boy.
Oh man. I mean, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna add. I have a graveyard now of all my employees. It's like, you know, a Darkest Dungeon where you have like a graveyard with all your.
Yeah.
That's what I have right now.
So he goes back in, and just to kind of sum up the next day, it's actually extremely productive.
Well,
It's
before we go into the next day, I was going to have a
please.
conversation with Arius because
That's very important.
So
Yeah,
I don't want to skip a day.
No time skips, man. We gotta have these combos.
We can have your
As I'm
summation
walking
already.
back towards the ship, I'm sure I'm basically like, as I'm reaching the access hatch and I go to hit the button, it's like the access hatch starts opening already. I like that idea. You know, like when you open the door and someone's already opening the door and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It's like that moment, except for she's not startled because she has super discipline.
So as the door opens and I'm standing there, I'm not even going to look upset, just calmly like, Kuka has gone to fetch her weapon from the police station. I'm afraid it's going to end about as well as her and Naga's exploits the night before.
Let's go. And I close the hatch back up and we're both going to go on our way to the police station.
So we know exactly where it is, whereas I don't think Kuka does. So we should be. I don't know if we
I
can.
have Kuka on comms though, so I'm just going to talk to her instead of trying to like.
Okay.
Because, you know, communication in relationships is important, Urath, okay? So I just, as we're walking that way, I'm like, do you know what direction she went?
I'm just gonna gesture the fastest way to get to the police station.
I walk that way, and I try to reach her on comms. Like, bring up my little hollow messenger thing.
Sure. Which one were you reaching on comms? The Rebecca?
No,
Me.
I'm trying to reach Kuka.
Oh, Kuka. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, did I miss something? Okay, it was Kuka. That's why.
Yeah, Kuka would answer. She would just go, "Am Kuka."
Am Kuka. I like that. Oh, that's cute. I just
very cute. I like Kuka.
Yeah. We're coming to help you.
She just like nods. She's happy.
She nods to
She
air,
nods.
to a radio.
She doesn't understand, man.
That's like my daughter literally walks around with my cell phone and says, "Mommy, look what I did," and holds the cell phone out to it.
Yep.
Like, that's Kuka.
That's about what's going on.
Less than
I'm
3
sure
years
that you
old.
could like hear it wiggling around and all that crap she wears, right? Like you would understand. You're smart.
I don't think she knows that you're shaking your head, but she knows that you wouldn't go outside of her orders unless it was something very, very important.
Yeah, she would just be like, am by smelly man. And like she would see something that she was next to and wait for you there.
Wow.
I like that.
It probably would not be very helpful advice of a landmark.
Yeah, you say "am by smelly man."
She
I
looks
just
at
say,
Fury.
"We'll meet you there," and I just
To be honest, I'd rather suffer Naga's fate than go back to this police station.
Why is that?
I have learned a torture far worse than anything I've ever inflicted. And that is the way this place runs.
She smiles. Do I know how things run here? Like slow paced?
God, it's bureaucracy.
Processing.
Which is
Yeah.
why Lotris was in heaven last session. He's like, sweet civilization, culture, and red tape. This is where I enjoy my life. And so, honestly, this kind of stuff doesn't bother Eris. You know?
No, I mean, that's kind of what I grew up in. I mean, I'm good with the coercion and charming people and like all of that stupid diplomacy stuff.
Well, bureaucracy is a poorly run engine, and Eris is a really good tinkerer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she knows
Like
how to
I
work
do
those
what they do,
gears.
but more efficient.
So you meet up with Kuka. It takes a minute, but you eventually meet up
I
with
want to
Kuka.
finish having the conversation with
That's fine. Oh, my
Ureth
apologies.
if we can. Yeah, as he says that, and I say, then perhaps there's something that I can teach you. Patience.
He's just gonna chuckle. He's not even gonna say anything back. Just chuckles.
She gives a little smirk as he chuckles. She likes that she made him chuckle, and they continue moving forward. I guess if he doesn't say anything else.
He feels like he's accomplished his goal for the day.
Yeah, so I guess we see Kuka then.
Yep, you meet up with her. It takes a little bit of time to get to her, only because like her directions were terrible. But you also understand Kuka well enough to understand her directions. She's like, "I'm near point," and you're like, "Okay, well, there's like a skyscraper nearby that comes to a point." Like you can translate it, and so you can meet up with her.
Fluent Kuka.
Yeah.
Yeah, we basically come up like basically Eris sees her kind of motions with her Leku and then continues to walk. Like there's not even like a stop or pause. Like it's just like she does like a motion with her Leku and then they continue to walk towards wherever Ureth is going. And I'm assuming Kuka kind of like runs up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you come running up to her. Go ahead.
She wouldn't say anything. She would just like,
We're on a mission. We're going to the police station.
Okay. So now, can I time skip?
yeah.
You're
to
at the police station. So you're at the police station. So I was misreading it every time prior. So I'm like,
Ureth is having horrible flashbacks already to this place. He is so unhappy to be back
he
here.
falls on the ground convulsing. He's like, "Whoa."
There is nothing Eris could have done to him that would be worse than bringing him back here.
So you you need punishment for acting out of turn. So you make your way back to the police station, and as I described beforehand, all the different details to it. As you guys go walking up towards it, once again, it's the outer door. You go walking into it, and it leads you to the inner door, where there's a line that brings you over to where the droid is standing on the other side. Or
So
attached
is
to
there
it.
only a droid? There's no people, humans here?
There are, but like the droid's the point of contact. There's people behind it. You know what I mean? But the droid's the point of contact that's right there. The others are actively doing stuff behind the droid. So as you, and then of course there's like the locked door next to you that goes into the region where you were stuck sitting for a long time, Wade. But that door's locked from the inside.
I'm going back to the refresher and pacing angrily again.
It takes about 10 minutes to get to the front of the line, Maggie. And when you stand there, Kuka, I imagine at your side, I can't see over the counter. You have the droid is sitting there and goes, state your name and purpose.
at this point, Kuka would pull out a wallet, right? And like flip it open, and then it would unroll a roll of pictures of her guns. And she would point to one of Tiny and be like, "Am stolen."
The droid actually, like, it's where it's attached to like the side of the wall that's there, it, like lifts up like and then leans forward and extends out even more, so you can see like around the counter and down to you because of like how small you are, and like looks down and it's like, state your name and purpose.
Am Kuka.
Am Kuka.
And then am stolen.
Am stolen. Your name is Kuka and something was stolen. Let me see that image. Looks it over and says, looks like a firearm.
Kuka wouldn't say anything.
I will enter a file saying that a Kuka is looking for a stolen blaster pistol. It looks as though on file here we have 10,317 confiscated blaster pistols.
I'm just gonna groan from across the room. Even if I didn't hear it, I'm just groaning anyway.
I'll speak up at this point, and I'm like, and there has to be one that matches that description.
Kuka would rattle off like the serial number.
Yeah.
Like she has it.
You rattle off the serial number, and Eris will actually say to them, is it a droid?
Yep.
To the droid. And a droid of your model can probably find it in under 4 seconds.
So she's trying to charm the droid.
Mhm.
Hey there, droid. You're looking awfully sparky today.
Hey man, they like being able to show off too.
So anyways, you say that to the thing, you say the serial number, whatnot, it goes, allow me to access the files, please hold. But like 45 seconds later on, it comes back and says, it seems as though we did find a police report that is linked to the serial number of this weapon. The weapon was confiscated off a Naga Silwraith that was released from here just several, last night? No, just several hours ago. Naga was confiscated. This is confiscated off of Naga after he discharged firearms towards an officer and even injured one of them. The detainee was my brain's not working. I'm sorry. What is he called? The Trandoshan was detained while his companion was in pursuit. His companion was another cloaked figure, rather small in stature. And then all of a sudden it looks over at you and says, you are a creature small in stature that is wearing a cloak. Do you know a Naga Silwraith?
Kuka would just look at Eris.
Eris is like no.
Then she would look over at the bot and shake her head no.
But Eris doesn't say no with her head. She just moves her leku in like a motion that to Kuka knows is no.
Yeah.
Kuka feels it. So you shake your head no. Then how is it that you're looking for the weapon that was confiscated from this Naga Silwraith? If you do not know who he is?
Am stolen. And then she rattles off the serial number again because she thinks it might help.
And I look at the droid and I'm like, and you let someone who steals things go away?
If you please take a seat over there, I will plug in the appropriate paperwork and I'll have somebody speak with you shortly.
Kuka goes and starts like mimicking what Urath is doing. Just like hands behind her back.
I take the paperwork and I will fucking fill out the stupid thing.
There's no paperwork currently.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so after the demo Kuka, it then turns.
I like the idea that I'm just sitting there and the two of them are pacing back and forth.
I'm assuming I overheard the yelling of "am stolen." That was pretty loud, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So I think I heard the whole conversation.
In that case, I'm going to actually walk out at this point. And I've got a communicator, so whenever I get outside and like a decent distance away, I'm gonna message Eris and say, I believe it is best that I am not present, as I'm the one who walked out with Naga. It would not be wise to see me accompanying you and claiming to have no connection to this.
You get like an automated message that says, yes, I understand.
Good enough for me.
Response, like a macro response.
Yeah, macro response, so that she doesn't have to say it out loud.
So anyways, you the droid turns its attention to you, probably right as you press that button, and says, state your name and purpose. Because it's done with Kuka, and now it's looking at Eris.
Oh.
Oh, I said I was sitting down.
Oh, you walked away as well? My apologies.
Yeah.
Because like as soon as Kuka walked away, it was
no, that's what I was saying. That like I sat down, and the two, I'm like sitting there very calmly, and the two of them are pacing back and forth, which was a funny sight to see.
We don't need to relive this whole thing again. That was obviously me prying on the patience of Urath, whereas Eris is somebody who's extremely patient, and this kind of thing doesn't bother her. So again, several hours pass before finally somebody comes in. It's actually the same.
You got nothing else to do. I'm just waiting for my damn ship to get fixed.
I'm
going to a bar, not to drink, but to hope that a fight breaks out, so I can at least have something happen that's not the police station shit.
Because murdering someone, an hour ago was, not enough for you.
No. No, not
He needs
compared
a
to what
little excitement.
from what I dealt with at that place. No,
The mundanity.
I didn't even get to
Of-
kill
of-
him. The droid got the final kill.
It's true.
It's just all you got to do was carve words into his flesh.
But the only reason
Yeah.
why he didn't die is because you got the droid to not kill him.
Well, that's because it was Eris's lesson to learn according to Urath. So
That's fine.
Except for Eris knows has killed many people.
We
for
don't
that.
need to play through all of that stuff because we're not prying on the patience of Eris. So time passes, an obnoxious amount of time passes before, by coincidence, the same officer comes walking out, but it's not the one that knows who you are, obviously. Comes walking out and says, "Kuka, stolen firearm."
I kind of like stand up and motion to Kuka.
Yeah, I would follow her.
So you come walking over, and he looks at you. He gives you like a look down and back up and says, "Hello, Kuka. Please come this way."
It's not me.
Uh-huh. Oh.
And I point down at my companion.
Am Kuka.
So you guys go over. You guys go in. He looks a little disappointed, but you guys go in and sit at the desk. And when you guys are sitting there, like he lets you sit there. Again, he kind of leaves for a couple minutes, and then he comes back, and he starts like looking up the file, and he's like looking through it and skimming through it. And I was like, "Huh, kind of funny. I swear I saw this file earlier today. Doesn't this have to do with a Naga?"
Yeah,
yeah,
that
Naga.
you-
That's his name.
Let him go. This thief.
Yep, there was appropriate paperwork put in order by a lieutenant, and he was released to a large guy whose name was, hold on, it's hard to read, looks like Urath.
She nods.
Well, it looks as though this weapon was confiscated because it had to do with a illegal activity, discharging of a blaster without authorization in a public area, and then also firing upon an officer. He got released with firing upon an officer? That's a strange way of going about things. Yep, and it looks as though he had an accomplice. A small person. The drones chasing couldn't get a good look. The weapon was confiscated, and it's currently being held in the evidence locker.
Well, you see, it was stolen from my friend here.
It's still evidence.
She's a little attached to that weapon.
It's still evidence.
And what would it take to get the evidence?
Well, the case would have to come to a close, which, without the detainee, it's going to be a little bit difficult to cut and dry this case. As a matter of fact, the thing might just end up sitting on a shelf for who knows how many years, because if he was released, I don't know if the case could ever completely finish, and it's not going to be thrown out for, I don't even know.
Officer, what's your name again? What does he have a name tag or something like that?
He doesn't, but over on his desk, there's like a little plaquey sort of thing that sits there. And you can see that his name is, because I said he was human before, yes. His name is Benton.
Benton. You have any kids? Loved ones?
That's kind of a strange question.
Humor me.
Yeah.
You know when they really love something and they really, really want it, you just can't help but you cave and you let them have it. This is one of those kind of situations. So
She crashed that speeder not even 6 months after her birthday.
yeah, they're reckless. Breaking things you get them, needing replacements, or in this case, losing them.
What's your point? It's still evidence.
And it's gonna sit on a shelf for years. You said it yourself.
You should see how much evidence is back there.
Look, I'm not asking for something valuable. It's a blaster rifle. I could go buy another one. but it has value to my friend here.
I agree it has value. As evidence, you seem to not be understanding how this looks. Listen, if you'd like, I can tell you where you can get a decent lesson in how it is that laws work in all of galactic space. But
Kuka's shaking.
evidence is what's used to convict people of crimes. It's evidence.
Does it look like he's not going to waver even if I were to try to bribe him?
He doesn't seem like the bribable type. You know what I mean? Maybe with the right bribe, anybody, theoretically, anybody would give in for the right bribe, right? But he doesn't really come off as the bribable type. That doesn't mean that there aren't other ways to alter his mind.
Okay. I will attempt to use the force on him then.
Yes. Tiny force.
I would like to use my influence on him.
Okay, you're going to be rolling against 2 purple.
And then...
For your, what is it, a discipline check for you? I think
no, that's if I want to use control.
Oh, yeah, because your influence. It still isn't it a discipline? No, I don't think it is.
Influence is... I spend... when guiding and shaping thoughts, only dark may be used for negative emotions like rage, fear, and hatred. Light may be used for positive emotions, tranquility, friendliness, that kind of thing.
Yep. Okay, so you
Basically, depending on how I go about it, I have to word it.
So you have to do an 0 purple dice discipline check because you have to get at least 1 success on your side, and you spend a force point. You flip a coin.
It doesn't say discipline.
No, you roll a discipline check. That's how the force powers work. But you roll against nothing, so you just have to get at least 1 success rolling against 0 purples, because you roll 0 successes then, which is feasible. You can get all advantage.
Discipline though when I'm trying to charm him.
Discipline is how you use force powers.
Weird.
Yeah.
I need to put points in that then. Why wouldn't I have that as a career skill if I'm a force user?
Doesn't that come as part of a force?
No.
I'll have to look
So
that
it just
up later
seems
on.
like it doesn't make any sense if it's not even a
Do
career
you
skill.
charm? Because I think that's what we were doing beforehand, but I'm pretty sure I've read since then, and it's all
I do
discipline
have a control thing that does specifically say my discipline versus his.
discipline. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is an unchecked one, but that's fine. Just do charm because that's what we've done before, and then I'll have to reread it again.
There's like
'cause
a
it's been
dice
while.
here thing that I need that has like a roll next to it. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what you're referring to. My apologies.
Okay. Let's see then. Just roll a charm then.
Because your discipline is 3 green, which is pretty solid. But charm is 2 yellow, 2 green. Yeah, that's 3 green against nothing. So the likelihood of succeeding is pretty fucking high.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
just think it's weird that like
I'll read the rules again. It's fine.
yeah. If it is that way, that's really strange because if you're a force user, then and that's what it seems like that would be a career skill, not the other ones. You know what I mean?
No, you're fine. Again, like I said, I'll read them again, make sure because unfortunately they're written kind of convoluted. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I'll roll it if that's the way it is written. I'll just in the future definitely want to put points into discipline. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
A lot.
All right. So you use the force on the guy, and what is it that you say?
Basically, I'm using it when I was saying what I was saying earlier to him about the kid and that thing.
Well, because like he kind of didn't cave at that point, so I'm saying like it's kind of a prod of another RP. As you're like, it didn't work, so now you're like using the force to kind of really push it through. So it's like more or less one more line would be fine. Something for
Okay.
feed off.
Yeah, I guess Kuka's like shaking, and I kind of like pull my arms around her, and I'm like, and I kind of just like look at him and look at back at her, and I'm like, it's you know what it's like.
So he just kind of did like the, you know what it's like, and he sits there for a couple seconds, and he like blinks.
She does that while she's holding Kuka, and then like her back behind her, you can't see it, but her leku are like moving, like she's doing something.
He blinks a couple times, and then he like looks down, and then when he looks up, you can see like his eyes are a bit red, and whatnot, and you can see he's a little upset, and he's like, She died in that car crash, in that speeder accident. I would have given her all the speeders she wanted after that. Yeah, let me see what I can do. And he starts like typing away at the console. And a couple minutes later,
When he says that, I reach my other, like I'm still holding like Kuko with one arm, and with my other arm I like reach over to like touch his like hand to like it's a comforting thing.
Mm-hmm. His thumb will do that curve around and actually hold on to the top of the fingers, like he's holding back.
Creepy, but okay.
You know, you're holding his hand. He's holding back. So he finishes typing away, gets up, walks away, comes back a bit later, and he does give to you the like inside a bit of like a box, like one of the evidence holding containers. Sorry, like almost like an envelope or whatever, but you know it's the future. So a little box, and he gives it to you that has it's sealed still, and says evidence number, and he rattles off like an obnoxiously long serial number. This should be what you're looking for.
Kuka nods and rattles off the serial number again and rips open the package.
You go to rip open the package. He's like, If you could do that outside, please.
And she rattles off the serial number with a question mark. Like, she wants to be sure it's tiny.
He looks over to Eris.
I think she just wants to make sure it is her box.
That's fine. Just do so outside. I'm already doing you a favor.
I pat her on the head and I'm like, I kind of like motion.
She shakes it.
You hear a big metal thing clunking around inside there.
That satisfies her. She follows Eris.
Discharges and kills a Ithorian off to the side. Second time.
He kills the guy's other daughter.
Yeah. So he does say to you, he's like, speaking of favors, and I'll actually hand to you, like kind of like slide over to your data pad there, his contact information, and says, hold on to that.
She puts her like arm on his, or her hand on his like arm, and kind of like says and takes the data and says, will do, and smiles, and before she closes the door, looks back at him and smiles again and closes the door.
You can imagine he's in there like, score, sorry, score, and
as we leave, and upon first, I'm sure as soon as we leave the door, Kuka's opening the box.
The door hasn't closed behind us yet, and the box is open, and I'm inspecting Tiny to make sure everything is as we left it.
As soon as I get out of the door, I'm like kind of motioning her to.
She's still walking.
And not like
She's
a wizard.
still walking. She's just also very intent on examining Tiny.
So as you open the box, you see inside that's like a vacuum sealed wrap, like a food wrapper sort of a thing, and then inside
bites
of
that shit open.
Inside of that is of course Tiny, and you look Tiny over, and it's exactly as it was left as it was being confiscated by the officers at the time. So
she hugs Tiny.
Walk
and
away with
like looks up at Eris and smiles.
Okay.
As soon as I see that confirmation, I message back to the contact that he provided me through not my actual contact. I use like another name, but I respond back to him and send him a message saying, I don't like owing favors. What is it that you want?
He responds back saying, more or less like, what's your opinion on Ithorian noodles?
Is he trying to see if I'm like, is he asking if I'm attracted to him?
More or less asking for a date, yeah.
She says, no preference.
It's a weird, it's a hard, oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, she's not saying she's against it or for.
He says, is this something you have a preference for? Perhaps Zabrak, and he names like some sort of like protein that comes off of their planet that's known to be a spicy dish.
Have I had the spicy dish before?
You know what? I have a feeling
Lord
that she's
check.
into spicy. Yeah. Oh, good call. Lore
Lore
check.
check?
Yeah.
All right. I'm down with doing a lore check.
I'm fine with it. Good call,
What's-
Doxy.
What's the rule?
I'm the
do
DM
I-
now.
My apologies. Honestly, 1.
Okay, 1. Let's do this. I probably won't.
She gets so much strain thinking about it.
I hope so.
Hey.
She's just
Okay, so
traumatized
I've had
from
it
the last
before.
time we ate it.
So yeah,
I'll say because I've had it before and I remember it that it must be memorable enough for me to like.
Okay.
And he says maybe this is what you have preference for, and she replies, "I could be easily persuaded."
he said then he responds to something along the lines of, "Then let me try my charm," and then gives like a date gives a time and a location, like sends the information.
Is the
over.
time and location within the time frame
It's
before
actually
we-
for this evening. Yeah.
she accepts the invitation?
Okay. And so more or less, you
Eric's
guys.
gonna get some.
You guys go out to your evening, and honestly, when the guy's out of his uniform and he's not like, "I hate this place. It's a meat grind of criminals that just fucking sucks," and da da da. He actually like once he like cleans up and stuff like that, he's actually seems like a pretty nice person. You get to know a little bit of his personal life, but he's not one of those, "I'm gonna throw my whole life at you in the first," so he's a charming person overall. But more importantly, I imagine Eris is not here looking for the love of her life, right?
Oh
Eris,
God, no.
Eris is always looking for angles.
She's not even looking for booty calls. She's like, I'll get a free meal out of this, and I will make a contact.
Exactly. So Eris is always looking for angles, and so Eris spends the evening, I imagine, being delightfully charming in her own somewhat distant way, and he
And gives this
enjoys
poor
it.
guy blue balls. Yep.
Yeah, well, I imagine she's not even necessarily pushing the envelope. You know what I mean?
No.
I imagine it's just being charming in general. And so after it all ends, you can see he's clearly satisfied with thinking that he did well with the evening, and you're just kind of like, "Yep, I guess I'll hold on to that contact." And so you imagine you tell him at one point in time that you will be leaving the planet, and he's like, "Well, I imagine like you'll be coming back through here again. It is Coruscant. You know, all what is it? All what do they call it? Star. Oh, what do they call it? The trails in the sky. Galaxy.
Oh, geez.
Star Wars. Galanes. He says
literally say it
galactic
every-
highways. All galactic highways lead to Coruscant. So
Every session we say that word.
I know.
We're looking for.
Except for this one apparently. So all galactic highways lead to Coruscant, so I'm sure you'll find your way back here. Reach out. And don't take too long.
Will do. And you're right. I tend to do a lot of work here.
And you guys kind of part ways. I at best it ends with I imagine like a little hug goodbye, but
Yeah,
again,
she'll
he's
give him a
not-
hug.
Yeah, he's not doesn't come off really as a creeper. He actually seems like a genuinely nice person. And he
His
goes
name was Benton, right?
correct.
Benton, genuinely nice person.
Add an H and turn that.
Let's
to an M.
corrupt him.
Let's see. Yeah. Oh no.
We should make him Bentham instead. Oh, that'd be better. Like, hey Bentham, how was your date with Maggie? No, so Benton. And so you guys go your own separate ways. When you guys head back to the ship, one of the things that you notice is that what's his name there? Fury. Is that crazy old man Fury is very, very, very efficient with his time. There is still literally a guy that is walking around behind him holding his pants, which is just like the most ridiculous thing because the man is walking around with no pants on, but he does still have boots on. And
I'm not phased by this. I actually understand the need for, or like the want to not wear pants.
it's a struggle every day.
Yeah.
And so he does make his way over to so when you go into the ship, you actually see everything's pretty much done and well taken care of and whatnot.
We should totally roll to see how attractive Benton is. I mean, we've rolled to see how
It's
attractive
gotta
other
be
characters
against
are.
like two.
Yeah, if we're gonna roll to see how hot Trini is, we have to do it
Yeah.
for Benton.
What was the role we did before for how attractive Trinity
It
was?
was charm, I'm pretty sure.
But what was her charm?
What were the dice? What was the dice pool that we rolled? We rolled a lot for her.
I don't know. I usually do 3d6 to see how attractive somebody is.
I think Mike specifically stated that she was an attractive girl to begin with, though. Whereas I just said he was an officer that more or less looked like he hated his life.
He asked
So-
if she was hot. I think I specifically asked if she was hot. And then he was just
we're
like,
let's roll
yes,
the two.
she's very
Well, it's
hot.
untrained.
Doxy.
We'll roll 4 green and see how that plays out. Okay.
Well,
I'll do
no,
that.
because with Trini we rolled 2 triumphs, so we clearly rolled yellow for that.
Oh fuck, you're
But
right.
she was charming though. Like that was part of her.
Yeah, she was a charming
Charming.
character. Right?
Was it her charm though? I thought it was just like a general. I thought he just like picked a random ass amount of dice to roll.
Yeah, check the VODs, everybody, quick! No, scatter. No, so yeah, okay, fine. We'll roll. How many yellows?
It was 2. Well, it was at least 2 for Trini, so 2 yellow and like 2 green, maybe. I don't know how's that.
Sure. 2 yellow and 2 green. Sounds
Against
fun.
6 reds.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be equal red and purple to.
No. He didn't roll
Green,
against anything
yellow.
on the other side. He rolled against nothing. It was just a flat roll to see how it came off.
She could
Okay.
have ended up with just advantage.
All right, here we go. We'll roll. Are you fucking kidding
Oh
me?
my god, everyone's attractive.
He
What
carries
Bruce
like
fucking Willis.
he has a little bit of like sag around his eyes. His eyes are a little bit sunken in. His he just often because he carries so much weight from his job, you can always see that he has that on him. So it takes him a few drinks to really open up, and that's where the strain comes in. It's just literally has such a stressful job. It takes a few drinks before he can kind of like really shed
I mean,
that.
police
and have a good
officers
time.
have to be fit, so
Yeah.
he works out.
I don't know what. I mean, young officers have to be fit.
Reporting for duty, Officer Kendall.
Not
Oh my god! I was thinking not about Benton. I was thinking about the pantsless weird. Why I was like, "There's no
Can we
way."
roll
this
for him too?
is hot.
God. Oh, I rolled against Strain. I was supposed to roll naked, but I'll leave the Strain on there because it's a stressful job. So he has that, but despite that fact, not only is he actually a genuinely attractive person, that's where the successes come from. The triumph isn't that he's another tier up of attractiveness. The triumph is because he's actually genuinely not a bad guy. From what you've been able to understand, he was a father that lost one of his kids, grew distant from the other one, and he is not married. And we'll just like leave it at that. Like his whole background, again, he didn't like open up his whole fucking life to you, but you're a rather insightful person, so you're able to pick up
Yeah, and I think Eris was trying to persuaded him into thinking she's not a bad person either, even though she's a horrible person.
Okay, so
All right, hold on. I'm rolling for the old dude's.
No, I got it right here.
Yeah, he's old. He should have some.
He
sorry,
stresses
I did
you
that
out
wrong.
to look at him.
There we go.
Even worse.
It was the opposite roll.
He's real not hot.
You were nicer than me, Scott. I was doing 1 purple and 4 reds on mine.
I did the exact opposite of what I did for the cop. Right?
Fair enough.
Right? Instead of 2 green, 2 yellow. Right. So, anyways, and he's just an ugly, creepy old man with scars and nastiness. So, anyways, he walks around with his pants off, and honestly, the job's done. And even like things that that were pointed out when you were walking up with Urath, as Urath wrong his own attractiveness. It's not true, Wade, because you didn't triumph. Just saying, you didn't
Don't
triumph.
need to triumph when
You
you
don't
have that
need
many successes.
You rolled that much and didn't roll triumph. That's sad.
You know what? It's because you're very attractive but 2-dimensional. That's what it is. Okay. So he's like Bastion. So you I'm just saying,
That's so sad.
you're 2-dimensional. Just saying.
Whatever.
Third time's the charm. Eh?
Well, I'm rolling for Scott. Oh, no despairs though.
They should be. A lot of bad jokes. A lot of bad jokes. So, anyways, you even the panel that was pointed out by Naga beforehand about the shades being off and whatnot, even all of that stuff has been taken care of. This man clearly knows the style of ship very well and cared to see that that is ridiculous. And cared to see.
I rolled for Tiny. I was told to roll for the gun. That's
It's just
gun.
ridiculous that you rolled way less and got way better overall.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how, but yeah.
Tiny is sexy as fuck. So, that's why she went back for him. You know, he
Kuka's
just does
polishing
right.
it, and now you can like see your reflection in it.
Actually, when you walk back through Kuka's area, she's like laying in her little hammock in her escape pod, and she has the cat laying down kind of on top of her, and she's petting it with one hand, and she has Tiny on her chest on the other side and petting it with the other hand. The cat is like the same length as her almost, and she's just like petting her preciouses.
Nice. There you
Yeah.
go. Her family has been reunited.
Yeah.
She feels as though they
she's
just
happy.
survived.
She can live without Naga now. She's a little less upset that Naga died now.
Yeah. Nice. So, anyways, he's very good at his job. He's very efficient with his job, and it clearly did a good job putting the whole vessel back together. When everything's said and done, you can see that what's his name, Lotris finally comes waltzing back in after being gone for over a day and a half and really hasn't talked to you in a few days. And when he comes back in, he does. You guys like everything's good to go, powered up, and what's his name is like, all right, goodbye now, goodbye. I don't need you anymore. Pants guy, you want a job? And the guy's like, dude, no, and like throws the thing at him like, I'm good. And like everybody leaves. They don't want to do this job anymore. They're out of here. They're all happy they survived, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not a single one of them reported you to the authorities, which is noteworthy because honestly, you just scared the shit out of them. But when you guys are picking up and going to take off and whatnot, as you're doing so, Lotris does send a communique over to Eris, saying that he would like to have a conversation with her, perhaps in private would be better. He'll leave that to you. And with that, why don't we actually...
For those guys that, the engineers, I will give them tips for finishing the job early.
Cool.
And for dealing with whatever the heck, I'm sure, old crazy fairy.
I like how it's not even the dead body; it's whatever pants guy.
Yeah, the body. They just saw it for a moment.
The dead body. That guy.
Oh, and I like pay them each, and I just tell them like, turns out he wasn't dead anyway. She's not lying. He wasn't dead when they saw him.
It's true. So the crazy part is I have to make a character sheet for him now. And it was one of those things I was like, after they meet him, they're not going to want him on the ship. Okay. Well, you know what? Wade, you did be a solid. Naga's not actually dead yet. Okay, cool. We can get rid of the crazy. Okay, that went that way. Oh, he's actually staying on the ship. All right. Well, here we go. Crazy old guy. This is going to be great. The pants are optional daily, right? As he goes like walking into like the life pod, like doing his old
changing the code on the storage room every day to keep him out.
As he says that, Eris will say, if you keep clean, sure. She doesn't really care if you wear pants or not.
Well, that's actually important to know.
As long as he keeps himself clean.
I need an opportunity to play a character on this ship. Pants
I'm
are
not
optional?
sure where you're going with this.
Dude! Like,
But...
it becomes like almost a nudist colony on that vessel. It's like furiously nude becomes the new name of the ship.
Kuka doesn't wear pants.
He
just has a cloak.
Yeah, awesome. Kuka's like the creepy guy at like Central Park that's like, and then comes off.
Splashes everybody.
Want to see Tiny?
Kuka's a girl.
That's pretty good. That actually works.
Oh.
Hey, it works if you're a girl.
Tiny could be inside your jacket.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, what happened to the session?
There are other things that can be tiny.
And
You, Scott, you made this man.
I made this one guy, but oh god, the whole scenario. Okay.
You made this guy and presented it to this group of people.
I know.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna torture a man to death and cut open his flesh to carve words to teach a lesson
saw
to
where
his
I
boss
took
who
it.
is evil. And she's like, perverted old guy that doesn't make sense half the time. Awesome.
We're evil as fuck, dude. What do you expect?
Like, clearly this guy's an evil genius. I almost wish, because I actually originally planned that, okay, no, he actually is good at his job. But honestly, if I made him comically bad at his job, that's just would have been a waste of session time. Like, oh, look at that, another joke within a joke. So I had to make him,
At least we know how much of this guy's body is shaved now.
I feel like it's all scar tissue, and hair doesn't grow in scar tissue, right?
That's true in some areas.
I think if he was bad at it, then she would probably just kill him.
Alright. Well, anyways, we're going to bring the session to a close here. Just as a reminder to everybody, next week that we will be doing Fated in the Stars. I won't be here for the beginning of the session, but we'll be joining in partway through unless Mike tells me, we don't need you. But most likely we'll be joining in partway through that session. And the week after that, we'll be back to this one, I believe, because we're actually going to be without
I just won't be here.
Maggie that week. So it all depends on if we can make it work story-wise. But, you know, it is a little early. We can always end the stream a little early, or we could talk about how Harry Potter should have married Luna Lovegood instead of Ginny Weasley, because that was like a stupid relationship. I always love this conversation.
It was really dumb. Ginny was a super shallow character.
Not only was she a shallow character, but she was in love with him for 3 of the most stereotypical lame reasons. 1, older brother's friend. 2, he was famous. And 3, hero complex. He saved her life, what, twice? Like, it was like the most cliche,
Yeah, but like
lame
they've
love
grown
story.
up together. Like she, like,
She disappeared for 3.5 or 4 books. That's not growing up together. That's a background character that was lame.
She was lame.
well, it's
I
kind of
agree.
like the off, where you don't like the off-screen like relationships that. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense when it comes to.
I mean, most people put Sirius Black as being top 3 or top 5 of the best characters that exist in the Harry Potter series. And when Sirius Black died, which was a huge moment in the series, spoilers, when Sirius Black died in the series, which was like a huge moment, who was the one that was there and gave Harry Potter comfort and made him feel better and gave him like a sense of like...
Bellatrix Lestrange.
That makes perfect sense. That's exactly
Honestly,
who it was.
literally
It was Luna
always
Lovegood.
Hermione.
No, there was Luna
Yeah.
Lovegood.
Literally always
It was
Hermione.
Luna that met up with him like right after everything went wrong. It was the very end of, I think, the 5th book.
But Harry had this like love thing going for Cho. I think her name was like Cho Chang.
Yeah,
Cho
but
Chang.
then we
she
all
was
have a
with
shitty
Cedric.
relationship. Yeah.
So he should have ended up with Cedric, and then left Cho in the cold because she couldn't
Cedric
pick.
died, so
Yeah. I'm cool
Well,
with
they
that.
could have rewritten that.
So I don't know.
Cedric,
I'm murdering
Boy,
someone.
zombie boy in Harry Potter, the boy who lived, the boy who died. Boom, ship it.
So I'm.
What? That's not how relationships work, Wade.
I mean, that's pretty funny.
I'm married. I know.
I
Damn it.
Cho wasn't stuck up. She was not stuck up. She was really nice to Harry. She also kind of betrayed him, but also it wasn't her fault because
honestly,
He never went for it. He never pursued it. It was his fault.
it was a high school relationship. Honestly, Cho was a typical high school relationship. We all had them. It wasn't meant to be the end all be all. You know what I mean? Again, Luna was there when he was in his deepest, darkest
I would
moment, and
be
she
the
got
Luna.
him on a level, like on a different level. You know, both of them were like these weird out there characters, and I don't know. It's just like the idea that the 2 of them didn't end together always sat with me wrong. That's like,
I still
that's
think
like,
I'm still with you that they would have made a good pairing, but I really like the idea of Neville and Luna.
sure, because Neville was was Harry Potter, was Diet Harry Potter. Neville was the
Diet Harry
like where
Potter.
all of us would
Straight up,
like to
though.
be Harry Potter. We're all actually Neville Longbottoms. Like I'm totally a Harry Potter in my story. No, you're the Neville.
Definitely.
You're like the one that could have been, but you're 27 dresses. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, and so it just bothered. And it couldn't be Hermione because Hermione would have been way too cliche. That would have been even worse. The childhood friend that becomes.
That's what I think
the love.
everyone expected, actually.
Yeah, and I won't lie. I was also in that camp because I didn't start reading them the first book until I was like 19 or so, which is they came out when I was very young.
Well, it seems like they're building up for the 2 of them to be like. I mean, it's mostly the 2 of them that are together all the time.
I'm very happy about the fact that they ended up as like best friends because that is actually a really comfortable spot for the ending of that relationship. It's awesome doing this in a Star Wars theme. It is a very comfortable ending of that like place for that to end off. But again,
What about Harry moaning Myrtle?
okay, well, I mean, Moaning Myrtle is
That-
good for one
She's
thing.
also
and that's
dead,
because,
just so you know, Wade. In
Boy
case
who lived, girl who died.
Listen, she hangs out in the bathroom stall and makes a lot of noise.
So does he.
I'm just saying.
Hey, some people are into that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you just cut the hole and, you know, like, you just, hey, it's glorious. That's all I'm
What?
going to say.
I don't. What?
I don't.
Listen, I'm just saying the bathroom was your typical truck stop. That's all I'm saying. Okay?
It was entirely too easy for the girls to get into the boys' room and the boys to get into the girls' room.
What about Harry and Weasley?
It's England.
The Weasleys. That
You
would
know,
be...
like we have stringent boys and girls bathrooms over here, but in the UK it's not as bad depending on where you are.
It says
So.
specifically in the book that there's girls' bathrooms and boys' bathrooms.
No, I know, but it's not as crazy as it is here. So maybe it's a bit more laxadative. Like the teachers were even more like, we're more progressive. You know,
Yeah.
you do you. Who knows?
Moaning Longbottom is the better ship. Oh no.
Okay. Who said that?
Moaning
Who said
Longbottom
that?
is pretty
Duds!
Duds.
Duds! Oh!
Duds.
Garth! Thank you!
Moaning
No, it's pretty
Longbottom.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh God, I am right there with you. That's amazing. Voting Longbottom.
Oh God.
Oh, oh God, that is so good. Oh my God, I'm so happy.
Oh.
I was gonna make a point, but now I forgot what it was because that was so
Yeah,
good.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I read that and just like, sorry, I broke.
No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Wow. What the hell was I gonna say though? I don't know. The only thing that I thought was more cliche than the triple cliche ending. The only thing that could have been more cliche than Harry ending with Hermione was if Harry Potter's cloak that was given to him at the beginning of the first book happened to also be one of the key elements to succeeding the Taskala. Oh wait, that's right. The seventh book was fucking awful in every way. That's right.
Here's the thing, though. He could still end up with Hermione down the line. The stories aren't over yet.
You know, you're right. The divorce rate is on the rise.
Well, there was. Have you guys read the play that came like years after?
I did.
The Cursed Boy. I know the story of it,
The
but
Cursed Child, I think. Yeah.
Cursed Child, yeah.
Because that takes place
I know
like
the story of it.
12, 15 years after.
It's Harry Potter's sons that are the focus of the play.
Yeah. So even I guess they could still end up together afterward, but it would be like the longer it goes, the more awkward it kind of gets.
Yeah. I don't know. That's really weird. It's one of those like then Ginny has to wonder if he was cheating on her the whole time, and then where's Ron come in? Because I mean like Ron, that's like his best friend, and now he's ending up with his best friend's ex-wife. Because now unless Ron dies along the way, like Ron gets cancer.
We
So,
just
like,
ship Ron and Harry.
God, Ron's such a useless character. God, I hate
I like Ron.
He's like the
relief is
comedic
important.
relief.
Yeah.
I feel like Ron is the worst character in the series. Like
You have to have that comedic relief character, and that's what he
Agreed.
was.
And he also like
Neville Longbottom
was
was the
the-
comedic relief. Wait a second. He was
He
the
was the
asset of
bra.
every show.
It depends on the scenes, right? Too.
Ron was also like the physically strong one out
No,
of all
he
of them.
wasn't physically strong until
Yes,
like
he
the
was.
sixth book, where they're like, "Oh, he had a growth spurt, by the way." But you know, only because the movies made him so big recently, I should have my books keep up. You know, like he wasn't physically strong in general. He was a Weasley. The strongest of them were the twins, and even they weren't known for. Being
Excuse
jockey.
me.
They were
No,
sports
the strongest of them were fucking was Bill. Bill was the
Oh,
strongest.
I'm so sorry. I forgot
The
about Bill.
meathead.
You are correct. You
How
are
dare
very
you.
correct. Bill is amazing. I forgot about him.
Yeah, Bill is.
I was thinking
Ponytail
I was thinking
and
purposely.
dragons.
Yeah, you know what? Because he's so removed. He's literally, I think, like he's integral in
Ron
two
is
parts
the
of the entire
rah-rah of
series.
Harry Potter universe.
Oh, there you go.
I love both of them. Thank you.
Well,
Coincidence? I think not.
I think that's kind of rude to say about Ron.
Huh.
Wow. I don't like
Oh.
you guys anymore.
Listen,
I
see-
kind
Except
of
for
wish.
Maggie.
I wish Ron was the rah-rah of the universe, because then he'd just fucking disappear.
You are. I'm gonna actually die. I'm gonna actually die if you
No,
keep
no,
talking
no.
like this.
You're supposed to save your death for Tuesday nights, okay? I only kill you on Tuesdays. Don't ask. So, anyways.
I on Tuesdays. No, we should talk about this a little bit.
Oh,
'cause
please
it's
go right
fun.
ahead.
Oh,
on
Charlie-
Tuesday nights on my channel we do a game called Kids on Bikes where we're all playing a bunch of teenagers.
I love
and
this series.
My character is a goth girl who's like secretly in love with his character who's like the popular surfer boy. It's
Oh God!
plays
You
in the
let
90s.
Daru play popular
So funny.
surfer boy,
He chose to play popular surfer boy.
and you let him.
What's the matter with
I'm
Popular
not
Surfer
the
Boy?
DM.
Yeah, what's the matter?
No,
with
Also,
it's
he
not
does
matter,
a good
man.
job.
It's you playing it is the matter.
Listen, okay.
He
Here,
does a good job.
Here, I'll get a picture of my character Max, and I'll get a picture of her character Ginny, and I'll put the Janie, sorry,
Janie.
and I'll put a bunch. Here you go, bam. Here's their characters. You know, here they are. Aren't they a match made in? They're a match.
Weirdness.
You know. I mean, come on. He's sexy as fuck. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't mind tangling some beard hairs. You know, like.
For real though.
I mean,
You
you
should have seen
know
the reference picture that he sent me.
that's true. I actually I'm bad at like ideas, so I just like I literally googled hot surfer dude, and it was like the 5th or 6th picture down, and I was like, that guy, he's pretty hot. And I sent that over. I was like, this but blonde. Give me shark tooth necklace.
We know Delric's type now.
That's true.
All those hot surfer boys out there. You know who to call.
But you don't know how tall he is. You know what I mean? Like what you know, that's a factor. Like you could
You don't
look
need
like
to know.
that
He's
and-
online. All you need to do is Zoom call him.
As long as he's 5'1" or taller, he's taller than you. So I'm sure that doesn't matter.
That is not true. That lies. Fake news.
Yeah, you got awfully defensive there without actually stating anything. So I think I hit the head.
And that day, that guy became his wallpaper. It's just, and it's not even like the full wallpaper. It's the tile versions.
Better than the stretch, though.
Oh, yeah, no, don't do the fit to screen. It's awkward.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, okay. So, anyways.
Crimson is shipping Wade and Scott. I hope your wives feel good about that one.
Wade, I would share a beer with you. You know what I mean? You seem like you brush your teeth.
Oh, I think you said a beard. A beer, yes.
I would share a beard with you.
That's what I thought.
We're gonna meld your beards into one another until
They
you,
are
Earlier, he went like,
Siamese
like,
until you are
twins
shipped and then
connected at the beard, and that is your next role play. Is you two are stuck at
Oh
the beard.
yeah,
I
Derek,
mean-
I have a drawing for you that you can have.
Yeah. Well, let me
Is
do
it
that.
of a hot surfer guy?
No, he just has like a huge bulge.
Wait, here we go.
What are you doing? Why are you smiling like that? What are you doing?
There you go. Just
I
connect it at the beard there, Wade.
I don't know. He's trying to connect beards with you.
Where?
On the stream.
He's green screening himself near you.
Oh, I think my stream's like on a delay because. Oh god.
Wade is like, Wade, you could eat his head. Just be like,
It's okay.
Is he
Wade.
below me? Which direction is he from me?
It's okay.
he's behind you, like, or he's in front of you, like, to
okay.
your left. He's in the front of you.
So, right here.
You know what? Why don't I just do?
Yeah,
what-
yeah. You're like
Please.
kissing his neck. It's a little creepy.
Okay. It tickled. It tickled. Okay. Whew. That's all. All right. Sorry about that.
This is the content everybody wanted.
God, what the fuck?
I
This
came
is the
for
most
D&D and instead I got to see a man with a
I'm
beard
so
eating another
sorry,
man with a
Chad.
beard.
All right. Sorry. This is the most filler we've ever done over here. We should go back to play Cards Against Humanity. All right. Anyways.
What do you have in your hand?
I know this side's for opening paint cans. I always assume this side's just for beer bottles because I don't know what else it would
Why
do.
are you
Okay.
holding it?
It was on my desk, and I don't do fidget spinners because I just fidget with other things, and I'm currently spinning it. So it's ADHD, man. I gotta touch stuff all the time. That's why I eat a lot.
Oh, I
always
see.
look
NC
at
Soft made us NC Soft fidget spinners.
So
I love fidget spinners.
I was like, what? And then for Christmas, I got like 30 of them. I have never used a fidget spinner in my life,
They're
but I got a
so
bunch of them.
Nice. I really like them.
I mean, my wife got one.
What am
from
I
her
supposed to do
job.
with them?
Fidget.
I used it.
I
for
thought
like-
I was biting
No!
a cup of Scott's head. It looked like I was biting his ass. That's not what I was trying to do.
I also
It
play
looked
my
like you were like
ukulele
Oh
kissing
with
his
it.
neck.
You left a
Yeah, it's really
cherry
funny.
shaped mark. I'm just saying. Sorry, strawberry shaped mark. Just saying.
Speaking of brushing teeth, I'm gonna have to.
Anyways, why don't we just end this horrible display of
Sweet
vagrancy?
dreams, everyone.
Yeah, I know. Think about that.
Yeah,
I-
I'm uncomfortable again.
Bye, everybody. I hope Mike sees this. Bye, everybody.
I hope not.
Clip it for Mike. Clip it for Mike.